All right, this is SSA. It's SSA RLCS. Welcome to it. Is there a more interesting region in the world than SSA Rocket League? Right now, I challenge you to find it. And we're going to get things kicked off with the obvious, and then we're going to focus on banger competitive Rocket League today. The last 20 hours have been very interesting, to say the very, very least. The result of all of this is that one of the top 8 teams, Young Money Clan, have been disqualified from regional qualifier number 3. And they were in the top 8, and it does mean that there's been a change up to today's bracket. We'll get to that in a moment. And we're posting in chat now. If you haven't seen it, there has been a competitive ruling by the powers that be, which outlines why the disqualification's happening and all the reasoning there. If you haven't seen it, the link is being posted in chat now. You can go and have a look at it. And with that said, done, and out the way, gentlemen, welcome to day 2 of this regional, the quarterfinals. Machtfish, Q. Machtfish, let's start with you. Here we are. One way or the other, we're going to have ourselves some bangers.
It doesn't matter how we got here, it seems. It only matters that we're here. And honestly, while I am a bit sad about the way everything happened and the past, 15 or 20 hours, we can't change anything about it. Now we just have to get on with it, and that's what we want to do. I'm just a bit sad that we got robbed of a very, very good potential grand final for a 3rd time in a row. But that's all I'm going to say about the obvious elephant in the room. The other 3 matches are still going to be quality over quality, and all 3 of them have got a lot to play for.
Absolutely. Well, we should have a look at Swiss, and it kind of gets some idea of how we landed up where we are, and then we'll get to the bracket. There it is, the crazy graphic with all those delicious logos out there. And yeah, it was kind of interesting, Q, how it all kind of played out. But for me, the standout performance was owned, and I gushed about them a lot yesterday. My kind of favorite SSA team right now, a team on the rise and doing very, very well to find themselves in their first top 8.
Finding yourself in your first top 8 and doing off the back of back-to-back series wins, right? It's one thing when you already have your foot, basically 1 foot out the door once you've lost those first 2, and being able to put up dubs against some pretty solid teams as well in those last 2 rounds. When you talk about against Maniacs, and then also against the who they ended up playing, the Elites there in round number 5. I mean, 2 squads that I think were also in contention to be here today. So, I mean, for them, good momentum going today. I think another team I'm looking for as far as the momentum with how their Swiss ended is Team Bonjour, able to kind of drop their first one to Limitless, but then kind of go on the roll in the back end of their day. This is a big time for SSA teams in our top 8. I'm excited.
Yeah, and Magda, we've got Bonjour and Schmongolia making it through, which is really, really nice to see. And then 77 Blocks. I mean, I know it's a team you kind of probably know more about than I do, but they seem to have been getting better and better as things have progressed.
Yeah, they've been getting quite good. I think every time they made it 3-1, or last time they made it 3-2. This time they made it 3-1. It's a slight improvement on their end, but it's also against some good competition. They've beat Mongolia in that deciding series. They did play well against a owned esports that, as you said before, is now on the up and up. So 77 Blocks, they do have that potential in them. And speaking to Twinzer yesterday as well, he was like, yeah, we can, with how the bracket looks today, we can actually make a grand final.
And what's been interesting to me is that with the inclusion of all these new teams who are now playing, it has made it more interesting in that SSA top 16 has been relatively predictable in terms of your top 16 and then going into your top 8 who would make it, whereas now we're seeing a bit of a seesaw. A team like Elites, they made it through top 8 in the first regional, didn't even make top 16 in the second. Now they make top 16, don't make it top 8 into top 8. So Q, that's at least, it's a lot more interesting than it used to be.
Yeah, it seems to be a product of the format for sure, not just in SSA. I mean, it's kind of something we're seeing across the board in RLCS. And while I know that there's some debates, again, across the board as to whether, how fair that is or how much that kind of gives us that normalcy at the top, it is giving us the product that I think they were hoping to give the viewers towards the end of qualifier number 3, which is that there's still quite a bit on the line. Maybe a little bit, not as much now with some of the unfortunate situations that have happened here in SSA, but we still have a bunch of teams that still can make a play for the rankings heading into Split 2 here in qualifier number 3. So even though maybe the top spot's locked in for LAN, there's still so much on the line today, and that's a lot thanks to the format.
All right, so that's pretty much how Swiss played out, and it brought us to this strange-looking bracket, which you're about to see right now. Quarterfinals are your top 8 teams, but with the disqualification, it does mean that Limitless have been given a bye, and they go through to the semifinals. So that means 2 things. One, it means Limitless have a day off, and secondly, it does mean that they are locked in for the major. They will be representing SSA in the Copenhagen major, but it does leave us with 3 best-of-7 quarterfinals to play out. We will be broadcasting the matches going from bottom to top. So starting out with Bonjour, Mongolia, and then Astronic 77 blocks, and then Next and Owned Esports. So and some pretty good matchups over there, but worth pointing out, Mach, that Mongolia cannot, for love or money, avoid Limitless in a semi-final if they are to win their quarters.
If they are to win once more, it would be Limitless waiting in semis, and sort of down due to their own demise because they forced Limitless to reverse sweep them in the Swiss stage.
True.
It's quite intricate how they actually got here, but again, it's unfortunate for Mongolia, but that sets up already that we most likely are going to have one more remote versus native sort of grand final that's being set up in the moment. And I mean, honestly, we are always questioning for Mongolia or Bonjour who's really number 2 of SSA, who's number 3 of SSA. Well, this is it, lads. We've had one fixture already of this, but now best of 7. This is to decide, Bree, who can be that first hunter of Limitless.
Yeah, and Q, I mean, as we see the team comparisons coming up there, and relatively, I mean, a lot of similarity between the two. But for those who are not aware, we have Guns playing for Guns on the Mongolia team. But up until the day before signups opened for this season, Guns was on the Bonjour team. He retired, they got Skill Steal, and then he unretired, but it was too late, so he got Mongolia. So it's a bit of a weird kind of setup and arrangement, and I wonder if he is the factor or not. Much has been said about Guns, but Skill Steal, I mean, he was driver of the day yesterday. What a magnificent job he's doing for Bonjour.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting because the way that things were looking at the beginning of the season, I think a lot of people were seeing this Bonjour roster to kind of be that second behind Limitless, right? And then you have the changes, and there's now all of a sudden been this debate, and Guns today gets to finally put, I could say, maybe a little stamp in that debate, depending on how things go today. You can even see, as far as we talk just the team comparison, but even the player comparisons broken down team by team, a lot of similarities across the board. I expect this thing to be an absolute banger today, Gabe.
Well, Machtfish, I think there can be no doubt. And I mean, it would be disappointing if it didn't reach banger status.
I mean, this has got Game 7 like written all over it, right? This is the 2 best competitors that SSA has to offer behind Limitless. They are incredibly well matched. They're incredibly closely matched, and both of them have their little star players. Both of them have their little diamonds. Some a bit rougher, some is not. But as we see here, Guns and Cams, the star strikers for their respective teams, over 1 goal a game, accuracy pretty much on par. So this is basically 2 teams that have a very similar setup of how they want to play and how they want to approach the game, now duking it out against each other.
And I love the fact that Bonjour is a team of 2 veterans of Rocket League in Skill Steal and Cams versus the sort of the new lights of the region's Rocket League in Snoozy and Guns. And that player comparison was incredibly interesting to me, just in terms of how close they were in so many departments, Q.
Yeah, I mean, I think it just kind of goes to show. I mean, we kind of talk about what we're expecting here. These are two teams. They have the experience. Plus, you bring in someone like that new third face to kind of turn things around as far as the chemistry here. Sometimes they're having that extra little piece, right? When you have that chemistry between the two, you bring in a third. It's just what's needed to kind of allow the ceiling to be lifted a little bit and allow the team to kind of push up towards that. I feel like in this case for both squads, we are seeing that a little bit. I know we kind of had the discussion of Guns leaving Bonjour for going the opposite way at the start of the season, but I still think that, I mean, these teams so closely compact. This I can't wait. It's gonna be amazing. I can't wait.
It's also not just that, but also I feel like this match is going to be decided by both Werty and Skillsy, who are doing so much of the dirty labor, I'd say, in the midfield, trying to gain possession, trying to keep up pressure for each other's team, for their respective teams. So I feel like whoever out of those two has a bit of a better day, that could swing the series heavily in your team's favor.
All right, well, let's get chat's input in all of this. And in chat, who takes this? You can vote now in chat. Hashtag SHM, hashtag Bonj, B-O-N-J. Get your votes in there now. And we've seen some pretty lopsided chat votes, but I suspect we might see a little bit more of an equal distribution here. But while chat is voting, we'll talk a bit and see how that all fleshes out and plays out in the end. So Dirty Werty and Skill Steal, again, two veterans, and it is really magnificent for me to see. I mean, Skill Steal was retired until about 7 weeks ago, but as most
in SSA, like
exactly, Q, and so many people said. I mean, I was getting messages from people, and like, Skill Steal has got, like, I think he had stupid numbers, 50, 60 past 2 or whatever, and it's like, retired question mark. So he clearly did not. His passion for the game is not left.
Well, it's retirement like it's retirement everywhere, right? In the esports space, I'm gonna retire, guys. 1 week later, I'm gonna unretire. 1 week later, I'm gonna retire. 1 week later, I'm gonna unretire. It's basically that perpetuum mobile that just keeps on going and keeps on going. And you said it, I believe, last week as well, Graveyard, is no one in SSA really retires for too long. They all have that competitive itch.
All right, guys, we need to get into our predictions. As much as I'd love for us to dominate all the time, Q, let's go. Shmongolia, Bonjour, who takes it, and what's the scoreline?
I think it's going to go into the favor of Shmongolia. I think Guns has got, a little bit of a storyline that he wants to write on his own. I do think that this goes 7, though. I expect us to see this go the difference. I'm rolling with Shmongolia.
And then Machfish, you said it's got Game 7 written all over it. Are you predicting? Firstly, is your prediction a Game 7 scoreline?
No. It's got. I wish it to be, but my heart of hearts, it says to me, Shmongolia in 6, so 4-2.
All right, fine. Well, I can't allow a desk sweep here. I think Bonjour. I think Bonjour can take it, so I'm going to go with Bonjour, and I will. I think they struggle to take it in anything less than 7, so I will go with Q's scoreline there, but obviously 4-3. So so there we go. Look, wow. Look. So close. Chat has a 54% advantage there for Bonjour. So I think that's reunion fans that are pouring into chat to come and support Willu and the French connection of the Bonjour team. So Mach, you mentioned Werty and Skill Steal. Q, are there who are the difference makers for you on either team?
I mean, I feel like when we look over on Shmongolia, definitely we've talked about Guns, but I do feel like the one player we haven't talked about enough on Shmongolia is Schnoozy, right? Especially when we talk about on the third, you Schnoozy, you Loozy. If it's going to take all 3 of them for Shmongolia to really be on fire, we've talked about how important it was for the other 2. I feel like it would be a little unfair to not at least mention Snoozy, because it will take all 3 of them to take down this Bonjour roster.
All right, and does that? I mean, Mark, you mentioned Skill and Werty. Your assessment?
It takes the entire unit. We're in top 8. It takes the entire unit of a team to really fire on maximum power to get away with the win and to get the victory in a matchup that we all predict to be very, very close fought.
And I love that assessment. And for me, that has been the success of Mongolia, Mongolia when they've played well. They as a unit have been amazing. It's all very well to have, someone like Guns and everybody talks about them, but they can't do it on their own. And it just doesn't work that way. And for me, in qualifier number 2, I saw a lot of that in terms of the linking up between Snoozy and Guns, and Werty just felt like such a solid corralling of his team, and kind of being that older mentor of like, guys, this is what we do. So if they do that, then my prediction could be well underway. But the big key player for me on Bonjour, Cams is just fantastic. So if he can come to the party, we are gonna have a banger. But we are ready to get into the game. Mongolia team Bonjour, and Machtfish is going to be taking through debutant Olympic caster. So good luck, gentlemen. This is quarterfinals number 1.
And this is SSA quarterfinals number 1, going to be underway shortly. Making his RLCS debut. It has to be that way. I'm sure you give us a lot of insights on, of course, all the 6 players being a prior competitor here and knowing them pretty much inside out. But for now, what's your feeling on the series? Did we waffle a lot of unfactured facts, or unfiltered facts, or rather unfacts on the desk? And that is a 1-0 lead in favor of Bonjour. Cam slotting it atop bins. With that, Bonjour an early start. And, we have to say one thing. It's that the technical problems don't seem to leave Mongolia, as they have to play with a Guns who's lost one of his RAM sticks, only has 4 gigabytes of RAM remaining, if my informations are correct. But that being said, he should still be able to perform to his best abilities. Skill Seal doing that, taking the ball to the side into safety.
Hopefully I'm back now. Hopefully I'm all good. But just talking before about that goal, very well placed from Cam, putting his team up 1-0 in game 1 here.
1-0 certainly doing Bonjour a world of good. Mongolia trying that with the counter-attack. Snoozy is there, but so is Skill Seal holding the defensive line. Werty trying to get Snoozy involved for a second time running. Will get his youngster teammate there on the flank. Guns now. We talked about his talismanic abilities in offense, but he can't break through Cam.
Just talking about Cam, he's everywhere at the moment. Scoring goals, putting up defensive numbers, trying to keep his team out of being scored on here, but being scored on Werty puts it high off the backboard. Cam's going to be the first man to the ball. Pinches it high off the roof. Team bump, Wulu putting it towards the half, but Guns dribbling out onto the sidewall. Can he get a second touch? Yes, he can. Clear towards Skill Seal. What can he do? 50 into the midfield. No one there. Demo from Wulu. Very good play from either team. Feeling each other out, seeing what they can do. Cam, another shot. Snoozy has to jump over one of the Bonjour members. The pressure right now is unrelenting. Seems like we're playing tennis instead of Rocket League.
Pressure unrelenting with a quick back and forth. As Willie tries to hold down the midfield pressure here for Bonjour. Cam being bumped away by Guns. Get another beat in him. Not quite. Skill Seal able to dart us up to his level quickly enough, but still the pressure maintains from Bonjour. Back pass to allow Mongolia out of their own half. And now that the game has settled down a little bit more, Bonjour trying to take control of the game.
And that's all they really need to do. Maybe get 1 or 2 more goals, slow it down. They're playing a very aggressive game against Mongolia, and I feel like it might work. Catch them sleeping in the back third, trying to put on some pressure now, but they just have to control it, play their team game, play their shots, and they're going to take game 1. But we still have a lot left, Mockfish.
We certainly do. A lot of time still remaining, and now It's a 2v1. Guns taking to the sidewall up high. Trying to get Snoozy involved in the mid, not able to do that. Willu, the Reunionese player, able to get one long clear, and Skillseal still lurking about for the second goal. Guns is wise to the flick and keeps it out from danger.
Talking about Willu, we should call him the Ronaldo from Reunion. He's just put up impressive numbers, not only this first half of the season, but last season, taking his old team to Germany. So let's see what he can do here on the ball in the corner. 50 with Guns, flies out to the back left. Someone's on the first skill steal. Werty with a shot, can it go in? No! Willu saving the ball, passes to skill steal. Now they're on a counter attack. Up the corner, Willu off the wall. Can he find a demo? No, he can't. He gets a bomb. Is anyone there? Cam's off the backboard. Unrelenting pressure, like I said earlier. 1 minute left here, Markfish. Anything to say?
1 minute left and Mongolia under supreme pressure, but they do handle it quite well as a double commit coming out from Bonjour, perhaps opening up the back line. Werty taking his sweet time with the control touch. Great demolition in the midfield there from Skillseal on Guns. So can open a lot of space for Bonjour to find that probably decisive second goal. The counterattack is not finished with enough accuracy, with enough drive towards that orange net.
30 seconds left, and it crosses the goal line. Can Snoozy put it away? No, he cannot. Looks like Sponger's going to get a counterattack here. Cam on the ball. Over one. Is that an open net? Yes, it is. 2-0 to Bonjour with 21 seconds left.
2-0. Cam gets a second delayed touch. Baits in Werty and gets the beat into the open net. Bonjour are indeed saying hello to Mongolia. You are not going to get an easy series from us this time.
This is not going to be an easy series. I'm predicting game 6, maybe a game 7, but the way Bonjour are playing, they're controlling the game. They're composed in defense. They're clinical in offense. With 5 seconds left here, they're just going to close the game out. Mongolia looking to reset. No, it's game 1. It's not going to be too important, but Bonjour taking game number 1.
Bonjour take number 1 and quite convincing fashion. They had Mongolia pretty much to their own back line for most of that game. Especially Mongolia just not having any sort of answer right now as to how to evade that pressure and how to really take control of their own fortunes here, Olympic.
Yeah, as you can see on the stats, 7 shots to 6, out shooting Bonjour, but not getting the goals, not being clinical enough. Demos going the way of Bonjour. Willu with 6, definitely controlling that backfield, putting them under pressure, and just being a menace like he always is.
Yeah, that menace is certainly helping Bonjour, and now it's on Mongolia really to find a comeback, to find something. You've got a lot of expertise here as a former competitor. What would you say after game 1? Simply, is it just case of warm-up game, we go next, or is there something obvious that you would already try to fix?
Well, the easy way out, we would take it as a warm-up game, but as you know, you can't have warm-up games here in top 8, and you just have to take it game by game. You have to feel your opponents out, try and come up with a counter, and you just got to take them. Game 2, come out hot.
Game 2, come out hot. They certainly do have enough time in the series remaining. Of course, it is a best of 7 here in the quarterfinals. And that second game is now going to be underway. Bonjour leading 1-0 in the series and leading 1-0 already in game 2.
Cam just taking the ball up here for a simple air dribble. See Snoozy's up. He's like, you know what? I'm going to take a flip reset and I'm going to dunk Guns. Michael Jordan over here putting the dunks on, putting his team up 1-0, only 7 seconds into game 2.
And Cam staying true to his pre-game goal-scoring total, where he scored about 1 goal a game. His quota already fulfilled in games number 1 and now also in game number 2. Mongolia's defense needs to get a handle on that young man, formerly known, of course, as Daisy, and the World Championship contestant from 2 years ago, and I believe from last year as well.
Yeah, he's got a lot of experience for this game, whereas Mongolia have Snoozy, who hasn't really been put to a task as of yet, having these tough games for the first split. Guns, a bit of a newbie for last season, and Werty, the experienced veteran, trying to mentor these two youngsters in a positive direction. But they just have to lock it down, breathe, and that might be going top corner. Guns, can he shoot? No, Cams gets to the ball. and already trying to put the shooting boots on, but nothing happening within the first minute of the game.
Nothing happening, but certainly some not too unthreatening looks at the target here from Mongolia. Bonjour has to be wary and has to be on their toes about that Mongolia offense. We have seen it time and time again. They can come from absolutely nowhere and score 2 or 3 past you, especially when you give guns enough space in the air. That mistake's not yet happening from Bonjour, and the lead is still in their favor.
Exactly. If you give Guns too much space, he's going to style on you, and he's going to style on you with no remorse. But Guns here getting a good 50. Snoozy trying to control the ball, misjump, but gets a touch before they can shoot on net. Skill steal, jumping high, trying to get the dunk, barely gets a touch. Guns trying to be the first to the ball. Willie drops down. Guns to the sidewall. Can he get another touch? Pops it high over Guns. Over Cam. Sorry, Cam into the corner. Werty back into the defensive end. Skill steal trying to get the ball out. Snoozy getting a good 50, and they're keeping a very good pressure here. Nearly half the game gone. They just need to be more clinical in the opponent's half.
Yeah, and that's sort of the issue for me. It's that every attack from Mongolia right now, it's too choreographed, it's too simple even. It's just bang a ball into the corner, hope for a whiff on the backboard, and then just try to score the resulting open net, but that's not coming. They need to be a little more creative on the offensive approaches. That was a demolition. Bit of aggression being thrown in the mix. They're trying to season their offensive stance with a little bit of spice. And there we go! Werty finds an equalizer.
Werty being in the right place at the right time. Snoozy slowing the ball down here. Pops over one, and Werty super quick to the ball, Sonic style, puts it over one, middle of the goal. Half the game left, and we're all tied, Mockfish.
Half the game left, all tied, and with that, it was also a bit of interference being played by Guns on the goal line, allowing that space in the infield, not really getting Bonjour that confidence or that ability even to drive out to meet the infield pass, and that was expertly used by both Snoozy and Werty. Now 1-1, and the scoring drought from Mongolia after 7 minutes 30 also finally broken.
7 minutes 30 without a goal may seem like a long time in this, but RLCS, anything can go. And talking about anything can go, Guns getting over one but can't get a past skill steal. Snoozy trying to get a double tap, leaves it for Werty, and Werty puts it top right. Lead to Mongolia.
And apropos of nowhere, there's the lead. Snoozy at the last second gets called off by Werty, who just has an easy shot in. And that's the sort of creativity I was asking for. That's the sort of creativity that we needed to see from Mongolia. Mixing it up and then scoring from it. Kickoff goal perhaps here. No, Guns only hits the post twice.
And against a team like Bonjour, you can't be choreographing your plays like they did in game one. Coming through here with a double tap fake to score their leading goal. You've got to be a bit unpredictable, a bit creative. And talk about creative, is he going to fake this? Yes, he does. Leaves it for Guns, and Guns puts it in the face of Cam. Willu now going on a straight counterattack over one. That might be in. Can they get a read? A double touch from both players. Cam's high up, tries to chip. Werty's got no boost, gets dunked. Very unrelenting pressure right now. Willu, another shot. Can they do anything? Fakes out Guns, but Snoozy cleared it away. Guns going to be first here. Low boost for him. Gets it past Cam. Can he do anything with the ball? Past one, past two. Can he find a fake here? Pass in midfield. Werty is there. A bit too much power, Mockfish.
A bit too much power, but you can see there from Guns the confidence even on zero boost, zero problems for the youngster. But now he's got 100 boost, and that means 100 problems for Bonjour's defense. Cam able to get it a block in the first instant, but Bonjour are currently too passive. They're too far back, allowing Mongolia that precious space in the midfield, which they are more than happy to take.
Right now, both teams are just choking each other out in defense. Guns here gets a good dunk, puts it to the corner. Can skill steal beat Snoozy? No, he cannot. Cam passing midfield to Willy. Willy, what's he gonna do? Soft touch straight down to Cam. Cam puts a shot on net, and he gets it past Guns. Tie game with 30 seconds left to go.
Tied 2 apiece. But what a return pass. What a cheeky little 1-2 between Willu and Cam. Nothing that the defense of Mongolia saw coming, and Werty, he tries, he might, so does Guns, but just a tiny bit too late to the play.
Playing a little bit of Barcelona ball there, a little bit of liquid football to get them the equalizer. 20 seconds left. Werty trying to get it over one. Willu low boost. He's going to try and find a midfield pass, but skill steal is not there. Werty with a little bit of a whiff. Guns back pass to Snoozy. Snoozy gets it over one. Can he get over another? No. Cam's on a counter attack. Werty's low boost. Can Guns be the first? Pops it high. Beats over Skill Steal. Gonna control in his corner. 3 seconds left here. What's he gonna do? Is he gonna drop it? Drops the ball, taking us to our first overtime here in game number 1.
Game
Series 1.
overtime in our first series, and game number 2. I was questioning my own maths there for a second. If I could count to 2, but yeah, okay. We got it. We can count to 2, and we can count to 1. The first overtime, and no kickoff shenanigans happening here, which is of course good to see. But Guns already there. Skillsy has a difficult read to make, but gets the read and the recovery to buy his time and buy his team a lot of time to get back into position. Gets the clear eventually. Willu pinch central. Skillsy is still there, but the angle is not.
Hey man, don't question me about my math. I'm a rocket player, not a mathematician, okay?
Aren't we all? Aren't we all? We don't need math, we just need to talk.
We don't really, but Guns, just talking about Guns right now, he's been putting on a clinic game 1 and game 2, just being the catalyst for his team. And talking about Guns, like, he's done a lot really. Werty, being his teammate, being the seasoned veteran, trying to coach these guys through, gets a good bump on Willu. Snoozy, trying to control the ball here, gets 2 touches. Cam's got a lot of space, passes back down to Willu. Willu with a shot. Do they get the save? Werty clears it off his line, but it only falls to Skill Steal. Good 50 back into the corner, flies high. What's Guns going to do? Tries to get a control. Snoozy tries to get a pass. Cam looking for a bumper, a demo, flies under Werty. Werty gets a good touch, but Skill Steal puts it high back onto the backboard. Can Cam get a shot on? Yes, he can, but Guns clears the ball. Willu puts another shot, and is that going to trickle in? Yes, it does. 1 minute and 26 in overtime. Bonja take game 2.
The defense holds and holds until it does not. Willu just puts a cheeky little roller on target. Snoozy thought the bang to the top bins was coming, but alas, it was not to be. And Bonjour take the second game in a row here in the overtime. A much better showing from Mongolia, but still not enough bite in offense.
Not enough bite in offense. They had that great unchoreographed play with the fake double tap falling to Werty. They just need to be a bit more unpredictable. Get those fake double taps, those fake plays, air dribble bumps. They just have to play their man. Play the game that they know how to play. Find out how to adapt and beat this on fire Bonjour team.
Bonjour, sometimes a little bit too passive, but at the right times active enough to get the equalizers, to get the goals, and to be up at 2-0. And now, of course, it's the eternal debate. You lost 2 in a row. Do you use your timeout? Because that, of course, is still available for Mongolia.
Yeah, for me, basically, I would use my timeout, use it to reset, regain my thoughts, try and figure out something to do in this third match and ice up the series from here. Because you can't go 3-0 trying to reverse sweep one of the best teams in the country.
Trying to reverse sweep, already a difficult task, but it seems like no timeout has been taken by Mongolia. They believe it was a bit of a fluke. They believe that they've sorted stuff out and can now face Bonjour. But as you said, Olympic, this is pretty much a must-win game for them, even though it's not match point.
Even though it's not match point, like you said, it's going to be a very important game. This is either going to save your mental or put you in the mud. And hopefully Mongolia have the ice to take game 3 and take it to a game 7. Everyone wants to see a game 7.
Everyone certainly wants to see a game 7 of the... Well, everyone but Bonjour, of course. I think they'd be rather happy with just having to deal with a sweep today. But Mongolia is not going to make it that easy already. Pressing forward here at the start of game number 3. The shot is on the crossbar and then saved away by Bonjour's backboard defense.
Great backboard read, backboard defense there from Bonjour. Guns fakes out one. Can he flick over another? Snoozy's going to be there. Guns tries to get the bump. Willu backs off and Cam can try and clear this first team. Snoozy beats him to the ball. This is going to be a shot on net. Guns is going to be there, but Snoozy gets the goal. A little bit of a mistouch in net. And after 4 minutes, after what's that? 47 seconds, 1 goal for Mongolia taking the lead.
1 goal, and it's a cheeky angle there from Snoozy to even go for it. Willu, try as he might, cannot keep it out. Mongolia with a 1-0 lead, trying to be as aggressive as possible, but there comes Cams off the kickoff. Snoozy right there in his face. Get it out from danger.
Trying to get it out of danger here, but now they want to counterattack. Cams Gets dunked by Gun. That's going to float high above net. Can Skillsteal be the first? No. Snoozy dunks him. It's still in that corner. Can they try and clear pressure, alleviate this? But no, Werty keeps put on the pressure. Mongolia with unrelenting amounts of pressure here. Snoozy high up to the ball. Tries to take it off the ceiling. Skillsteal's first time to the backboard. No one's there to meet him. It's going to be a free double tap. Bounces it low. Guns cleared up into the midfield. Meets Willu. Willu off the backboard. And Snoozy tries to clear pressure. Take a breath. And they need to figure something out to try and clear this pressure.
Figure something out. At least now they've got boost in their tanks. That was looking quite dire not a few moments ago. Still, the pressure and the possession for Bonjour remains. That's an awkward bounce, and that bounce is gonna pay dividends for Bonjour. Skillsteal steals the lead and puts us back even.
Snoozy with a bit of a backflip moment there in the corner. Maybe not reading the bounce as you'd like, and Skillsteal saying, I love this, and putting away probably one of the freest nets he's had in his career.
And also not to underestimate, of course, Cam with the demo on the goal line, making life a lot easier for his teammate. A team effort here for Bonjour to get their equalizer, and still they press forward. Skillsteal, good challenge on the left flank. It's not going to beat Werty on his backboard though.
Cam's got the ball here, puts it high up the wall, puts a pot shot on net. Is that going to be in? Werty cannot get to the ball, didn't have any boost, and Cam just slots it off the left wall.
No one really challenging Cam in the midfield. Snoozy driving away, Werty not having enough boost, and then oops, that ball just landed in your net. Too much space given to Bonjour's offensive talisman. Well, that talisman certainly does sparkle today.
He really is shooting like this is one of his best RLCS performances ever. Trying to get a third goal here. Guns tries to fake out in front of the goal, nearly gets punished for it. Putting it high up over one. Can he get it over another? Behind Skillsteal. Snoozy leaving the ball for his teammate Werty. Snoozy trying to put it over one. Skillsteal passes it mid. Cam gets another shot on net, but it gets blocked. Free on the backboard. Passes it to Cam, but no. Guns trying to get a counter-attack here for his team.
Guns trying to get the counter-attack, but misses the boost deal crucially. Werty also not getting it. Back right corner boost for Bonjour. Still there as an option. Still there for resource management. Not needed right now as Willu gets a good clear against the Mongolia attack, but it's only one goal between the two. Still a lot to play for and a lot of time for Mongolia, of course, to find something as the Wifty comes through in the midfield.
They still have a lot of time, as you said, just under half a game left to play, and they really need to find something unless this game gets out of hand and goes to Bonjour. But a good dunk from Werty into the corner. Snoozy popping it high over midfield. No one's jumping for Snoozy. And that's going to be a goal for Mongolia. 1 minute 40 left on the clock. Game is all equal.
Game is all square. Again, the infield pass comes through. And again, the infield criminally under-defended. Snoozy shot placement. Absolutely sublime. Behind the last defender. And Mongolia find an equalizer, but are immediately on the back foot again. The reunionese Willu takes Bonjour up 3-2.
Talking about an equalizer, here we have the Punisher. A little misplay from Werty off the kickoff, can't get to the ball. And Hulu just slotting it bottom left.
A good slot, a good follow off the kickoff, and all of Mongolia's hard work certainly undone within seconds here by Bonjour. Now still find themselves in the leading position, and Cam's going to ensure that that lead holds on for just a little bit longer.
Good 50 here from Snoozy, putting a hand to the backboard. Gun gets another 50. Can Werty get a dunk? No, he cannot. Cam clearing it into his back corner. Snoozy finds the ball, finds a shot, but it gets met by Skillsteal. Guns with a bit of a misplay. Back to Guns. Snoozy to Guns. It's a 1-2. I don't know what's happening, Mark.
Just not really sure. The players unsure when to take the shot, when to pass to a teammate. It's almost like the team approach that they are working on so well with a lot of these infield passes is keeping them back from just taking a quick little shot at target to get themselves out of awkward positions. And they seem to be caught in quite a few of them on the offensive half as time is running away, trickling down, and now Cam is going to make it even harder to come back.
Cam looking to put the final nail in the coffin here in Game 3 and looking to put this game on series point. Great slot there from Cam, putting it above Werty. 36 seconds left Do you think Mongolia can come back from this?
Well, it's not impossible, but they would need to score relatively quickly and then have a great kickoff. That pre-jump from Guns is absolutely filthy, and it enables so much pressure here. Snoozy coming in, finding the angle. That's the quick goal Mongolia needed.
What a pre-jump from Guns. As you said, gets it over one. Wilu's a bit awkward in net. Barely has time to land, barely has time to think about what Snoozy's put on net, and now it's just a 1-goal game. The comeback is alive.
Comeback is alive for Mongolia. 20 seconds. Bonjour's defense has to hold. It's a good little pinch there from Skillsy. Just keep the ball up high for Bonjour. Keep the ball as far away from your own goal as possible. Wilu and Skillsy doing exactly that. Werty finds Guns though in a bit of open space. Wilu denies immediately.
2 seconds left here. The clock is going to hit 0. Can they keep the ball up? Yes, they can. Guns taking it high up. Can he get a flip to keep the ball up? Ball drops, and game 3 of our first series goes to Bonjour.
On the brink of a sweep are Bonjour after 3 games played. But does the result tell the entire story? In my eyes, it doesn't necessarily. This is a very, very close-fought game, a close-fought series. In the end, Bonjour just has those little minute details down a bit better.
It may look like Bonjour's up 3-0 right now, but these games have been insanely close. 2 1-goal games in the first game, just being a little feeler. 2-goal game. They just need to communicate in defense, Mongolia. They've got what it takes to score on this team. They just need to reset. They need to calm down and take next game as if it's their last, because it basically is.
1 step at a time to a best of 7 reverse sweep. It has been attempted a lot. It has never succeeded, to my knowledge, in sub-Saharan Africa. Best of 7 reverse sweep. And that's a feat of history that Mongolia have to take here. Again, no timeout being used by Mongolia. It's a decision I'm not too fond about, Olympic.
It's a little bit of a head-scratching decision, if I would say. You're 3 games down. You can use your timeout to take a breather, take a break, talk as a team. But I think they're just going into this. They believe that all of these games have been unlucky so far. I'm talking about unlucky, nearly getting scored on within the first 10 seconds. But they've got a great counterattack here. Guns looking for the dunk. Nothing coming to fruition. Cams gets it over 1, gets it over 2. Snoozy's alone in the back corner. Will he be first to the ball? Yes, he will. Trying to get over 1. Werty touches it to corner. Will he get another touch? Demo on Snoozy onto the backboard. Nobody's there. Guns pushing a bit too far up. Trying to get something within the first 30 seconds. They're coming in hot to this 4th game.
Coming in hot, of course. Nothing to lose now for Mongolia. You're already believed to be down and out. Maybe they can work some witchcraft though, but Cam looking for a bump, and that bump displaces the defender, opening the path for Wilu to strike.
I don't know if it's going to be a bit too early to tell, but I think we have to get the broom emojis out in chat, because this one is either going to go very well for Bonjour, it's going to be another tight game.
It's going to be, most likely it's going to be another tight game. I mean, pretty much every game apart from game 1 has been very, very hard fought over, but Skill Seal is not going to be fought over at all. He's given too much space, and the veteran knows how to use it.
It seems like this may be the beginning of the end for Mongolia. Not taking those timeouts might come back and bite them in the bum. 2 goals down within the first minute against a defense, against an experienced roster like Bonjour is going to be a tough. Wilu putting another shot on net, and talking about Bonjour, 3rd goal in a minute.
3rd goal within the same minute. 2 for Chute, his 50-50s for Cam. And then Wilu again, the open net to shoot at. Well, not entirely open, but open enough for a player of his caliber. And you know, Olympic, after the 1-0, I was going to ask you if you know about the first rule of the reverse sweep.
What's the first rule of the reverse sweep?
In order to reverse sweep, to truly reverse sweep, you need to be behind in that decisive game. So Mongolia have done that. They're now behind in the first game they need to win. Granted, it's not usual to go behind by 3.
They may be down by 3, but I'm going to believe in your ruling for the comeback. They may be 3 down now, but there's 3 36 on the clock here. Werty into the corner, no one's there. That might be an open net for Guns, but no, it bounces off the backboard.
Oh, bounces off the backboard, but still there come Werty. It's going to be denied on the goal line. Guns, again, taking control, getting it past one. Not enough, not a lot of boost, but double flip resets nonetheless. As he gets the pass, it's a fake. Cam can't get to it. Skill steal Cam, but there is Werty to punch it home.
I don't wanna jinx it, but they were behind in the reverse sweep projection, and they might be coming back now. 3 minutes 14 left on the clock. They get a goal to bring themselves back within 2 here. Trying to claw anything they can. They just need to take a breath. Need to play their game. Snoozy not getting to the ball, and that's going to be a 4th goal for Bonjour. Just a little bit of a kickoff mess up here from Mongolia.
It's the second kickoff goal they concede, and it's second time that the follow from Mongolia has been very aggressive, and Bonjour has been able to punish exactly that. Maybe a bit more of a conservative follow here. It's great 50-50 from Skillsy, but at least no kickoff goal conceded by this Mongolia side, as Guns is drawing up 2 defenders here from Bonjour.
After playing against both of the teams recently in scrims or in matches, I have to say these have to be the 2 most annoying teams to play in playstyle-wise. Both ball chasey, both not getting off the ball. And I think Bonjour just perfected it a little bit more. Ball bouncing off the post. Cam tries to get a shot, puts it over Guns. And they're 4 to the good now with nearly half the game gone.
Wow, that 50 though from Skillsy in the opponent's corner. Absolute and utter filth. He gets a pinch on it still on target. Makes it hyper awkward for Guns. And the only thing he can hope for is a good little flick up high. And that flick simply not coming his way. But everything is going Bonjour's way. Guns, that was the wrong air roll, but it still worked out.
Guns, I know Guns love scoring, but on your own net may be a bit too much. High off the backboard, skill controlled it. They just need to try and get anything here with like half the game left. Keep the comeback reverse sweep alive. Werty high onto the backboard. Cam hits it out. Still control of Bonjour. Big clear out by Skill Steal on the counter attack. Can Snoozy get to this ball first? Yes, he can. Clears it over 1, but only pass it to Willu. Willu to Cams. Cams doesn't get a shot. Can Werty find an open net? Bottom left corner. 2 minutes, 3 seconds left on the clock, and they're 3 goals behind, but they've got another one here.
And finally, it's a confident challenge and a confident follow from Werty. Guns gets a good 50-50 there against Cam. Werty completely trusting that Cam will be beaten in that 50-50, just driving forward recklessly even. But if you're 4 goals behind and only 2 minutes 30 to go, or 2 minutes to go now, and I mean, you got no other choice but to trust in the best possible outcome, even though that has not been your game favor. But they're on a second. There's a second one. Goal by Snoozy.
Mongolia looking to throw the kitchen sink in an all-out attack, and they're throwing Snoozy at the ball, and he's just been on point. His accuracy has been second to none in the series.
Could this even be? Dare we think about a comeback from Mongolia here? Werty certainly does, as he fakes it past one. Snoozy coming in, but doesn't get the angle past Willu, but still keeps the ball in the blue half. Pinch from Bonjour is going to clear a lot of space. It's going to give them a bit of time to breathe. And now, this Mongolia onslaught, it will certainly continue.
You know how they say you've got a caster's curse if you try and mention a reverse sweep or anything? Does it really count if I didn't start off as a caster? So does
you're still casting. I think it's the act of being a caster in the moment that counts.
Well, hopefully I can break that caster's curse and get a game 4 here for Mongolia. Talking about Mongolia, Werty 50s skill steal into the corner. Guns gets met by him again, trying to get anything. 1 minute left remaining. Can they do anything? 50s after 50s. Guns, can he beat the player? No. Cams gets it over 1. Can he get it past Werty, his ex-teammate? 50 high, back into the corner of Mongolia. Touchdown. Soft touch Cams, back up to the wall. Willu back pass to Seal. Some liquid football being played here. Snoozy misses the ball, but Guns keeps it in his own corner. Unrelenting pressure. It's an open net, but it goes awry.
Goes awry, but still there's an opportunity. Now the counterattack from Mongolia. That's a great little bump on Guns, but it doesn't matter. He still gets a shot off. Cam is rightly positioned himself in the center of the net, ready for the save, and that might just be the winning save for Bonjour.
20 seconds left on the clock. If they can't get a goal within the next 10 seconds, it's not going to happen. Skill steal, puts it high back up and trying to control the ball here. 12 seconds left on the clock. Good 50 from Werty, keeps it in his half. But they need to find a goal now. Pass out to Snoozy. Can Snoozy find a goal? That's goalward, but it's off the backboard. And with little time left, Bonjour takes this game in a sweep.
Bonjour will take the game, and maybe Guns can still find a double tap. Some plastic surgery on the result, but alas, he cannot. Bonjour take an emphatic 4-0 sweep over Mongolia. But let's be honest, Olympic, this series was a lot closer than the 4-0 might say.
This game definitely wasn't a sweep. It may show a sweep on the scoreline, but both of these teams played their heart out. Mongolia fighting back, getting the lead once this whole series, but they're fighting back from every single point of the match in any game, and they really were putting their hearts on the line for this game. Unfortunate how it turned out, but congrats to both teams for how they played, leaving everything on the field.
Congrats to both teams. Indeed, everything left on the field. In the end, I think just a bit of on-the-day performance being in favor of Bonjour. A few bounces, a bit of 50-50 wizardry being done by Bonjour, and that's all that it needed to go their way. They sweep Mongolia, and I think let's get Grabiot back into the fold. Ryan, how did you see this one?
So my question, Guns has been plagued by technical issues. I think it was Regional 2 or whatever. There were disconnection problems. And then earlier today, there was a tweet about his PC being dead when he turned it on. And I don't know if he got it working or if there was a plan made. But I don't know, Mark, well, let's start with you, Olympic. From what you saw, did that seem to be plaguing Guns out there? Was he below par in his performance?
Honestly, from watching Guns there, he was a magician in offense. He was a magician in defense. It was just a bit unlucky, a few missed touches here and there, but I don't think he was plagued by any hardware. He may use that as an excuse down the line if anyone asks him about it, but I believe he played with his heart on his sleeve, and he shouldn't come away disappointed with this loss.
All right, but Machtfish, there we go. The desk was fairly confident. I mean, no one predicted, no matter the prediction of team, there was no sweep involved here. But that is a surprising result. Firstly, Bonjour taking it is a bit of an upset. Taking in a sweep, that's a huge upset.
Taking in a sweep is definitely a huge upset. But again, if you look at the series and look at the individual games, I think the only one that Bonjour can really claim as dominant was game number 1. 2, 3, and 4 are both incredibly hard fought, and especially in 4 where Bonjour had a bit of fortuitous kickoff wizardry on their side, 2 kickoff goals scored. If they don't score those 2 kickoff goals, that game could go very open because they also came at like good points. It was a quick second goal and then a quick fourth goal, so they always came sort of back to back, which certainly didn't help the mental of Mongolia, I feel.
All right, well, Bonjour have put in a day's work. Mongolia are now off for the rest of the weekend. Bonjour will have more work to do tomorrow, where they get to meet up with Limitless in our first semi-final. So, yeah, well done to them. And Driver of the Day will be opening in an hour. So, sort of partway through the next series, Driver of the Day, where you can vote for your Player of the Day, Driver of the Day, the most impactful Player of the Day. So start taking your notes on who that might be. Perhaps it's Cams. Maybe it's Skill Steal once again. But that wraps it up. Just like that, our first series is done and dusted. We turn our attention next to our next game, which is coming up after this break. All right, one quarterfinal out the way, another 2 to come along, and Pyro, I'm gonna roll right to you. I know
right.
you woke up fairly recently, and you were up for a lot of the night, so I don't know how much of that you caught. Are you surprised by the result there?
So yeah, no, I caught the whole match. Of course, this was going to be a banger of a match because Mongolia, basically they've had 2 chances to play Limitless in semifinals already this season. Bonjour say, listen, that's too many. You've had your chance. You got swept last time. And Bonjour say, it's our turn. All right, we get a chance now in semis. So I think that's how it went today. Obviously, this team of Bonjour, there is so much potential. We know these 3 players. We've seen them on the field time and time again on different teams. Kind of just waiting for that combination to click. And today, certainly did.
I mean,
well, Pyro, first I got to say the reason. Sorry, I'm going to come to you, Mark, because I just want to say to Pyro, I specifically wanted Pyro to be on from the second series so he could have extra time to sleep. And 2 days in a row now, you've not taken advantage of that. You've stayed awake and watched the games anyway. So I'm just going to put you on from the first one. Mark, you were saying.
Just adding on to that point from Bonjour, I've just have a quick little peek at the stats, and overall, Bonjour's have just immense stats. Okay, Cam's have 50% shooting accuracy. Overall, the team shot at 42% in RLCS. Cam's rating on shift is 1.7 for this series. That is absurdly good. He's got 500 score per game, scored nearly 2 goals a game. He was 80% goal participation. Basically, Cam's was really, really good, and having him be so on fire, having him been enabled by Willow and Skillseal made it so difficult for Mongolia. This was possibly the best Bonjour we have ever seen up to this point.
And I think, okay, so I think you've both sort of spoken in a bit of a harmony there, because Pyro was talking about that roster clicking, because their performances earlier in regional, in the first qualifier and definitely in the second, like they've got all the skills, but there was an uncertainty about what they were doing. But with what you've just said, from a statistical point of view, and what you've said, Pyro, it absolutely does seem like they've kind of figured out whatever they had to figure out, and almost rediscovered, Pyro, their own confidence in what they're capable of doing.
It is a rediscovery, and it's a new, clean slate, I think, for Bonjour. I do want to kind of take a moment to talk a little bit about Mongolia as well, though, because seeing them out, of course, we have this long break between splits now, so it's going to be a while until we see them again. This was a very different regional, I think, for Mongolia. They lost to 77 blocks in Swiss, whereas beforehand they had their number, and now they're taking a loss to Bonjour. I think people are starting to figure out Mongolia a whole lot better, right? Guns has really been that lethal component of the team. And when you take out the firepower, they start to have those jets cooled. So it was much more than that in different games, such as Game 4, which just ran completely away. But definitely people starting to figure out Mongolia. They're going to need to work hard during this time off the split to come back stronger in the next one.
Alrighty, well, that's the series of the past, the series of the future. The next one here is Astronic versus 77 blocks. Astronic, of course, the roster formerly known as the Firehawks, and they've been fairly consistent, Mark. They've taken a game from Limitless. They've kind of been there and thereabouts, but now doing very well.
Certainly doing very well, and the Spaniards have been, recently being picked up by an org. That's always great to see, but twice now, I think, in both regionals, they've run into either Limitless or Mongolia in the top 8, so are yet to break over that top 8 barrier. 77 blocks the last regional playing against YMC, so having a similar fate. This is really their first regional and the best chance for both of these teams to really make an impact, to really go for that top 4 or maybe even a grand final. I certainly believe the winner of this has it in them to go all the way.
All right, and then on paper here, Pyro, Astronic looking the stronger team, but I don't know if you've seen enough of these two teams to form a cogent opinion about strengths, weaknesses, or otherwise.
My whole thing is the head-to-head. Like, I want to see them match up against each other right now. For 77 blocks, their only losses so far go against Mongolia and YMC. Well, they've toppled Mongolia in Swiss, and now it feels like sky's the limit. You know, aside from YMC and Limitless, you know, they're kind of that number 3 spot. They can vie for that. And I think the former Firehawks and now this team of Astronic Skill Quest is a great challenge to, as Mocked is saying, start that road to a potential championship bid.
And if I can put out an appeal, if these teams are planning to compete once more, if we could have images of the players, please, that would be fantastic. Because it brings it down a notch when we can't get a sense of who you all are there. But Machtfish, the team comparison there, the player comparison there, I don't know if anyone stands out as key players, keys to success, to unlock success for either team.
I mean, for Firehawks, I'm saying, sorry, Astronic. For Astronic, it's all about, I think, the unit. The 3 Spaniards, they are going for that more aggressive sort of playstyle. Very, very, like Olympic said about Mongolia and Bonjour. They never really seem to leave the ball alone. They always want to put pressure on you. They always want to put you in an awkward spot. But 77 blocks is sort of the exact counterplay that they like to soak up their pressure. They like to be in defense. It's that quintessential sort of German style of Rocket League. Let the opponent come to us, make a mistake, and then very effectively counter them. I think that's going to be the idea for 77 blocks for that to work. Twins are on defense, needs to be on fire.
All right, well, let's get the voices from chat. The chat vote is now open. In chat, we want to hear from you. Who do you think is going to take it? Astronic, hashtag ASTR, hashtag 77B for 77 blocks. Let's get that chat vote going and underway. And then we start working ourselves now toward our own predictions. And Machtfish, since I finished with you in the last one, I'm going to come to you first in terms of so you've got opposing continental play styles there. You got the German soaking it up, and the Spanish on the other side bringing the fire. Which style prevails?
In a completely and utterly unbiased caster prediction, I'm going for my countrymen. I think 77 blocks, this is their best chance yet, and I believe they are still a small step, but nonetheless a step above Astronic. That being said, Astronic is going to make it very, very tough on them. I predict a 4-2. All
right, and Pyro, Germany, Spain.
Yeah, wow, what a surprising pick there from Mocked Fish. I am blown away. I have a truly unbiased opinion. That is the same. I, too, am going 77 blocks. I like what Bepic said. He was on Team Stream for Limitless the other day, and Byrachu is really coming alive for this team. So that's going to be the player to defeat. If you're 77 blocks, keep an eye on him. I think they can do it.
All right, and I'm just sort of glancing over at the chat vote, which is still going. It's currently Astronic 58, 77 blocks 42, so they've already gone against you. And I'm going to go hang out with chat. Why not at 54%? Which 54% voted for Bonjour in the last, by the way. Chat got it bang on there. So I'm going with chat. It is Astronic versus 77 blocks. The second of our quarterfinal matches gets underway right now. This to lock in our next semi-final berth in Qualifier number 3.
Will this be the series that goes 7 games, or does it only go a couple of blocks? 2 teams enter and 1 team advances to championship Sunday. Astronic Skill Quest versus 77 blocks. Let's get down and do what it does.
Yeah, it's good to join you in the booth, but let's get down to the field here. Game number 1, the best 7 of the quarterfinals. We just got off a sweep, and it feels like, I don't know, one team seems to come alive on the field and get fired up, but the analyst desk, including myself, thinks this can go the distance.
Yeah, I hope to see this thing go the distance. You know me, Pyro. I'm always a hashtag for the content sort of guy, but I do want to see which one of these teams can come out here and really assert themselves here early. And Yellow going to do a good job with that 50, leaves it off for Mario, who's going to send the shot towards the net. Easy sent aside for 77 blocks here. Twister going to do a good job trying to send this thing down towards the corner. Launched aside from Energizer. I think was looking for Twinzer, but unable to find the connection.
Yeah, already you're starting to see that control come out from 77 blocks, plus a double demolition. Really reigning supreme in the disruption game here, but Astronic staying alive, surviving for only so long as that ball trails towards the net. Thankfully for Astronic, it doesn't find its way in.
Twister here is going to do a good job with the contest in the front corner. Make sure this is a little bit slower push out here from Astronic. We do see doing a good job pushing forward with the whole squad. I thought was going to be able to maintain the control, but I like what we're seeing right now from this 77 blocks team on defense, really restricting the amount of time that we're seeing Astronic spending down, able to set up shop down the offensive side, but we also haven't seen their offense really be able to step up much and put anything really scary towards the net in their own right in this first 90 seconds either.
Yeah, they're looking to get that chance here. Certainly at some point they will. Twinzer gets that read off the back wall, and Mock mentioned it earlier. Twinzer so solid on defense. He said they don't mind taking on the pressure and containing it in a way that is excellent. Twinzer is so solid on the back line, a beast, and will be called to action to make those type of saves.
Energizer able to turn around, make a play on that ball, pass up here to Twinzer as they start to enter the offensive zone one more time here for 77 blocks. Good job by Byrichu, able to rise up and stop that attack here from 77 blocks. Still sitting around that midfield line though, and it is our orange squad able to gather things up. Left off for Twinzer, touchdown, but Mario coming from left to right, able to get the save and sends it back towards midfield.
All right, Twinzer asked for defense, but coming alive on the offense. Great angle, but just not enough power to take it over the line. Astronic instead, we're being battle tested on defense. Energizer, the midfield pass, knocked away by Byrichu. And not enough boost to contend with another touch there at the midfield. Twister from the corner. There's a high touch. Mario has to defend, does clear away. But Astronic, they need that next step. They need that sequence of touches to get across the half-court line.
Yeah, looks like at least that's going to be here from Mario. At least moves up into the offensive side. The question is, can you actually gain that control down here and start to get some sort of semblance of offense going? They've been able to register 2 shots, but just doesn't feel like they've had much going. It's going to be a beautiful pass to Mario. Punches it home, and Astronic going to be the first on the scoreboard.
Well, Byrichu on the stat sheet has been the resident striker for Astronic this event, but he's not afraid to be a little selfless. Take it to the mid, hand it off to Mario to kick it in. First goal for Astronic.
Now let's see if they can hold things down here for these next 2 minutes after being able to be the ones to strike first. Nice steal here from Mario, able to take the cookies. Can you punch it home? It's going to be sitting right in front of the net. You can see Ed Yellow was trying to close the distance to see if they can make a play on that ball. Just a step behind here, but Astronic doing a good job on their defensive rotations. Everyone's going to be able to get back. Now going to be able to play from downfield and make sure they're set up to get the stop. Twister almost sends that one in though.
Oh boy, Energizer wants to work this ball themselves. How about a second touch? Oh, it's over the line. It was a bit too close to call there for a second cue, but eventually landed in.
Yeah, how many times have we seen where a player like Mario is able to make the play to punch that thing out there? You got to make sure you see that ball come all the way across, and inevitably it does. And now we are all tied up. 90 seconds still here left on the clock for our teams to try to avoid sending this thing to overtime.
Oh, surely not. That one a little too close off the kickoff. And already 77 blocks trying to work off that momentum of the first goal. A lot of people say it could be the toughest one to score. So the floodgates, could they be open now? 77 blocks. Redirect the other way into the corner. Twister, follow this up. The shadows alongside that sideline. Windsor from the corner. Quarter tank a boost, but leaves it there off the ceiling. Ball comes right off the crossbar. Astronic coming close to these power shots landing in.
Oh, but a double commit over here in the corner from Astronic, and Twister's able to pick this pocket. Energizer was looking for the second touch. That would have been absolutely filthy, but a beautiful save to come in. This could be an opportunity for a counter attack here. You see, and Yellow's going to make the play in the corner, garner the control. Second touch, leaves it for a nice little pass to the center. Could have been big for someone to bang home, but the defense for Astronic already rotated back.
Oh, Bayerchu, is there a bomb? No, shot comes from Yellow, but that's not enough either. Working this around the corner, but 77 blocks. They've got a blockade there. They can't get through. They can't get past, but surely Energizer does across the field and past the last defender for the second goal.
Oh, able to get it over one. Bayerchu needs to at least get a nose on it there, unable to do so. And that's just a wide open net over on the other side of the field. 16 seconds here for Astronic to try and make something happen.
The kickoff's not going to go their way initially. On the corner in Yellow, a little bit awkward. Left it open for Twister, and off the demo, the lane is clear. The avenue secure, and game number 1 just about there for 77 blocks.
And Pyro, while you can make the argument that it doesn't matter if you lose by an inch or you lose by a mile, it's still the same reflection on the series score. It does feel like this 77 block offense has really started to kind of figure itself out in these last like 2-3 minutes here. Really starting to kind of jumpstart alive, and this could be something for them to build on heading into games 2 and 3. Tried to get one for the road, but man, what a performance down the home stretch in game number 1 for 77 blocks.
Is really the bread and butter for this team. They concede a single goal, and again, it's been the defense that we're highlighting from this team of 77 blocks. They get enough time to energize the Energizer as well. The hat trick on the game, 3 for 5 that time around, where normally Twister and Twinzer get the limelight. We're seeing the third instead come alive here in game 1.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes that's what needs to get done, right? We saw early kind of the 77 blocks offense kind of, I don't want to say shut down because they were still having a lot of control, but they weren't able to find the back of the net. Maybe this was one of those situations where Astronic was coming out and game planning more for the Twinzer combo, and the adjustments were made. Kind of going to be interested to see as far as for Energizer if he is able to keep this thing going and going.
I will certainly see. The other thing for 77 blocks is they like to suffocate if they can. Yeah. They'll close the gap between themselves and the ball, no matter if they're on attack or defense. So Astronic, while they may like some of these solo plays or to try and contest in the aerial game, you saw their only goal come from that ground pass. They may need to leverage those type of team plays instead of just get quick challenge over and over again on those aerial encounters.
Well, either we go into game 3 tied up at 1, or our squad of 77 blocks is already going to be halfway there when it comes to completing the sweep. We always talk about it. The good news is, doesn't matter what the score is, we roll that clock back to 5 minutes, scores back to 0. Let's get down and do what it do with game number 2 here, Pyro.
And Yellow already with the start here. Trying to get things cooking here for Astronic. Going to be Energizer instead from the midfield. And 77 blocks again. I think they're guarding a whole lot more possession than they're used to. I see this team on defense, but more time on attack. It means more damaging blows that can occur against Astronic. Bayerchu says, not yet, not now.
Our big send down to the other side of the field. Energizer already rotated back to field. This DC pushed up was Aniello with a little bit of contest in the corner, but only for a quick second. Energizer with a shot off the corner, pass off the corner. I think was looking for a teammate there in the middle. Unable going to be able to find it. Might see a little bit of an opportunity from Bayerchu, but Twinzer doing a good job shutting it down.
I mean, I told y'all on defense, Twins are the one to look out for. That was a 1v2. Tough situation to react to. But noticing the vulnerable position they're in, attempts to go for that quick challenge, right? Close the gap immediately, get the ball out of the danger zone. Really smart play there from Twinzer as they're here on the turnaround for the counter. The long clear that actually contests the shot. Bayerchu already with a savior medal here, a minute or so into the game.
And I don't know if you saw that, but Energizers are just about to drop that down on the hood of Twister there in the middle, which would have been a huge opportunity for them to try and open things up here in game number 2, but they do still have the control trying to move things forward. Bayerchu's going to be able to jump the passing lane, able to keep the ball down here for now, and followed up by Aniello. Buries this ball just a little deeper into the corner, but unfortunately, kind of like we've seen time and time again, Astronic not really able to set too much up down on the 77 block side, allow that pushing forward, which then just gives that control right back to the opposition.
Oh, come on now. Let's go. Twister finds them on the downwards pass, the vertical angle Puts it on a silver platter for Energizer to get the 4th of the team. All 4 goals now scored by that player.
Just rolling right now. He's doing such a phenomenal job as Energizer. He does look like we're keeping things going in game number 2, which means if you gotta not just shut down the duo, but now have to worry about everyone. Not sure how you game plan for that. Not on the quick adjustment here, at least for now, and Yellow gonna try and get this clear out of the corner. There's gonna be a help with the pinch from Byrachu, able to get it past the midfield line, but again, losing that control right around the midfield, gives the control back to 77 blocks. Big play by Energizer going coast to coast, and that's gonna be a second one here for Energizer.
I'm calling it now. Timeout after this game, and the game plan is deny Energizer some way, somehow. Get this guy off the field. Get the demolitions going. Challenge this guy. And for Astronic as well, some of their recoveries leave more to be desired. I'm seeing them kind of kick off the lip of the net and be kind of slow moving back. They need all reinforcements in position if they want to defend those counterattacks.
Yeah, it feels like maybe just a little bit of seeing the mental getting a little bit away here, understanding the pressure that they're on. Nice rebound from Twister off the shot from Energizer, and it's going to be 3-0 here. They continue to run it up.
Okay, so someone other than Energizer can score on the team of 77 blocks. We know that now, but of course, it's still assisted by Energizer close on the post shot. Astronic having a really difficult time dealing with the seasoning of the peppering of goals one after the other. It's too much.
Byrachu looking to try and center one over, but the only players that were sitting there, both from 77 blocks, neither of them quite able to get the clear, as Mario's going to field this. Sends it off the rebound. Byrachu looking for a follow-up shot, but Twister doing a good job on the defense. Second touch as well, leaves it upfield. Oh my goodness gracious, 77 blocks, now up by 4.
Get it with the wheel, Twister. Look at the power on that. Find the heck of an angle there for the 4th goal. Astronic, they can't keep up.
There's a reason that I think Ardez was leaning the way of 77 blocks, and they are showing up the play today, and especially being led by the way of Energizer. 2 goals, 1 assist, now 2 saves in this game, truly doing it all and leading from the front. The unusual suspect when it comes to 77 blocks, but that just goes to show you that there really is no weak link in this very, very strong chain of 77 blocks.
And no weak links found at this point. But for Astronic, I think they're trying to work off their strongest links right now on that latest possession. After we see the misfire from Energizer there, you saw Byrachu start to solo play the ball, right? Take it as an aerial, back to the ground, contest on the 50-50. They want to work in these solo play maneuvers. Problem is 77 blocks so good on the reads and dunking this ball away. That's a save from Energizer. Reads the shot from Byrachu. Twister in the midfield to send this up to the sky. Byrachu again trying to work on this solo play endeavor, but it's just not enough.
Mario gonna try and see if they can turn it around and feel like over on the side of Astronic, you would like just to at least give yourself 1 heading into game number 3. Give yourself something to be able to build on here in this closing minute, and Yellow's gonna launch that forward looking for Mario. Mario was gonna try and get the second touchdown, but Energizer, not just being the catalyst on offense, but also delivering so often over on the defensive end as well.
Ooh, midfield pass. That was what was working for Astronic in game number 1, but all still red. 77 blocks. They're back on the attack for the final 20, though this is a demolition to open up the field a bit. And Yellow out to Mario. Double tap off the backboard. Still not enough. And in these final 10 seconds, it is still scoreless for Astronic. A convincing victory for 77 blocks, who allowed 1 in the last game, but simply none in game 2.
Defense has been able to show up once again in game number 2, stepping up just a little bit more, and the offense continues to produce for this 77 blocks. But the one thing that I can't help but wonder, Pyro, what kind of snacks do you think Energizer's got in his backpack right now?
Oh, man. I mean, clearly he's fueled up. Clearly the Wheaties were eaten this morning. This is a player right now who has scored, say, 5 of the 7 of this series and assisted 1 of the others. So clearly punching the numbers in the stat sheet. We've got that timeout called here. Yeah, Savior Metal, he's got the most saves on the game too. He's doing it all, front to back, coast to coast on the court. And that is part of what's forcing Astronic to call this time out. If I'm not mistaken, they scored the first goal of, or one of the first of the game last time. So this is just blow after blow against them. They've got to take a breather.
Yeah, you've got to find some way to really pump the brakes here. Sometimes we see that the timeout is simply used to try and ice the opposition if you feel like your game plan is a good one, but it just hasn't found a way to produce. I don't think that's the case here. I feel like you've got to find some way. We've talked about it often. It feels like Energizers kind of had the ability to really run free on the field, and Astronic has paid for that, right? Maybe it's one of those things where Astronic kind of came in with that game plan. Twister and Twinzer, they're the ones we have to focus on, but 77 blocks has made them pay thus far.
Well, you mentioned all the space being provided here to 77 blocks. I think you bring up a really good point. The midfield especially. We've seen some lasers of redirects, passes in the midfield where it's a little too free. So Astronic, when the defense needs to work up to just a better margin, it kind of comes down to that midfield control. What are you doing to contest that area? Whether it could just be taking the midfield boost. It could be getting the bumps to go. It could just be quick challenging on these plays that 77 blocks are taking up. You know, that's where their lethality comes from, is the power shots that come from the midfield on the quick transitions. They've got to be quelled.
All right, look, I know it hasn't looked super pretty for our Astronics fans thus far, but I've been the copium guy this season. Let me give you one little thing to hold on to heading into game 3. The timeout buff's real. So if we can see them come out here in this first 60 to 90 seconds and really flip a switch and at least, I think, hold their back end together, I think it's the big thing. Even if you're not necessarily loading in a bunch of goals, but your defense is looking stout, that's what we got to look for here to start game number 3.
Oh, we'll see if we get to it. The start of game number 3 is here. Adjustments needing to be made here for Astronic. I don't think we saw a timeout in that sweep in the last series. So, like you said, timeouts, at this point, they can't hurt on the day. As we get things going here in game number 3, 77 blocks with a goal differential, I'm going to say, of about 7-1. A lot to work against here for Astronic.
You got to find something going here. The good news for Astronics, they've at least got possession of the ball here. Nice little passing play from Byrochu, looking for Mario, just unfortunately doesn't connect. And Yellow does a good job with a 50. That's a good touch from Mario to leave it in front of the net, but everyone had already started rotating back towards the defense. Nobody was able to capitalize on that touch here. Big clear coming in from Energizer off the pass, and now going to be able to field this thing off the corner, looking for the second touch, but in Yellow, able to shut him down.
Look at this, everyone from Astronic so close to the goal line. When the ball gets batted off the backboard, no one's really there to follow it up. So much space still being provided to 77 blocks on these attacks. And an avenue created as well off the demolition of Mario. Shot taken there from Twister, bounces on the goal line. Mario there just in time. Peeling out the play though is Twister, as Twinzer put it right in position for the shot. Yellow finds it around, but 77 blocks, as we mentioned before, suffocating on this possession.
Now trying to flip the script here. Here's Mario, second touch. I think was trying to leave that a little bit more towards the center. Would have left a big opportunity for one of his two teammates. The good news here for Astronic, I was going to say you could potentially shut things down, at least keep the ball up in your half, but instead it's Energizer over one, and Yellow going to be able to send it aside. But Twinzer doing a good job making sure that they're not able to get the clear with that 50 in the corner. Oh, but it's over one. Byrochu has a one-on-one opportunity, but Energizer not only again stepping up on offense like we've seen, but defense this time as well.
Oh, credit to Byrochu here on the save, the double tap save. On the other line, I was going to credit them as well because they're in that 1v1. They set up the 50-50 for the follow-up shot to occur. Tries to find the bump afterwards. But with all that work still being done from Byrochu, there's still not that opening. Flick comes through, but that's a bit high. And Yellow works for the pinch pass, but Twister has that taken care of. Again and again, 77 blocks. They have a response against whatever Astronic puts up.
You gotta say, I'm getting concerned a couple of times. We've seen when Astronic has been down here. The third back has almost gotten caught a little too far forward. Doesn't matter this time as Byrochu punches it in and gives them the lead. The thing I was gonna say was I was worried about the counter, but who needs a counter when Byrochu able to just go the distance under one over the other two, and that's something of beauty.
In Byrichu, we trust. If you're Astronic here, rooting for this team, this player has been trying to become activated on the attack time and time again. 77 blocks, they're known for not allowing those aerial plays to occur, but the reset musty flick is gonna be enough, almost enough here. Twister on the other side. Byrichu, though, credited for yet another save.
Energizer able to meet that ball at mid, which allows the potential control for 77 blocks, but a big steal here by Byrichu, trying to split the pitch, able to get the pass over to Mario as well. And Astronic seems to be benefiting from that timeout. They're up 2-0 with just 2 minutes left to play.
Clean was that as well from Byrichu, as this is another passing play. This is how the first of now 3 total goals for this team in the series occurred. Byrichu just handling the ball very well near the corner, getting that outlet pass to a teammate. Mario close on the save. Astronic working to hold on to this 2-goal lead.
Get pass here forward, and you see back towards that midfield line. Energizer is going to be able to at least send one on the target, and Yellow be able to flip it here now. It's going to launch it deep down into the territory to allow the rest of the team to set back for this rotation on the defense. Remember, on the side of Astronic, they just simply have to shut things down for an additional 90 seconds. It's up to 77 blocks, who offense, I mean, they're still getting some production in the sense of shots. They have 7 of them things. The efficiency hasn't been there, and part of that is just because the defense from Astronic has stepped up big.
It stepped up in that recent play. I think all 3 were in the air. Byrichu had to bail them out. Shaky situation for Astronic that 77 blocks almost capitalize on. Mario with a look here, contested by Energizer. Mario again just right behind the play. In from Yellow, picked up again from Mario. It's out to Byrichu. From the backboard they go, but nobody's necessarily there to kick it in. And it's not necessary either. 2-goal lead still. It's under a minute remaining. They can hold this lead unless 77 blocks finally get that counter going.
And you could say it's almost like they're playing monkey in the middle here with the passing, but it's all high, more like giraffes in the trees. And then Yellow gonna be able to punch this one home, bottom left-hand corner off the beautiful passing play. And Astronic look to set up to take game number 3.
I mean, you called out the timeout buff, Hugh. You know, it's real. It's a thing. We asked from Astronic, what can you do to even out the possession game? Well, I think it's towering in favor of them now. 77 blocks, they cannot hold on to the ball on the attack and are under fire as well with shots and demolitions like that. 30 seconds to go here. Miracle needed for 77 blocks to make this happen as they look for even just one.
Might be an opportunity here with the shot from Twinzer. Mario with the save, followed up by Energizer off the rebound. And who else to at least get the one semblance of offense, the one goal that we find over on that 77 block side, but the man himself who's been doing it all series long, Energizer.
Yeah, if there's one constant in this series, it's an Energizer goal, isn't it? That's one that just had to happen, even if it doesn't change the series score here. And suddenly here off the kickoff, there is still a shot here. Twister, so close to making Astronic pay for not capitalizing on that ball early on off the kickoff, but it's done. It's dusted. There's your win. We will not have a second sweep on the day as Astronic take their first game.
Yeah, Astronic makes sure that 77 blocks put the broom back away in the closet, let them know that there's plenty of Rocket League to be had, especially when you look at the scoreboard here on the stats. I mean, a lot of these bars hanging over towards the right, not just on your shots, which is more middle, but even look at your passing plays, your saves. The big thing, I think, also the demos, we started talking about the space that Astronic was kind of opening them up for themselves. We see that a little bit. I would like to see them do just a hair bit more. I'm not going to lie.
That's a fair call out. 77 blocks, looking to get more time on possession, more shots as well. I mean, here's the thing about Astronic. Yes, they did better on the possession game to earn this win, but they also earned it on the defense. 7 saves, still this game off the 9 shots from 77 blocks. So, you know, their defense shaping up in a way that's allowing them to counter, allowing them to get more control out of the midfield and deny those high redirects that we've seen from 77 blocks. So it's quite the test to do that in a single game as they've passed it here, but with a long best of 7 queue here, they've got to continue the effort.
Yeah, they've got to find a way to keep this momentum that they've got in game number 3 and turn things forward. I definitely feel like on your defensive end, still limiting the shots just a little bit, because it's hard to be one of those teams that game after game scores more than the opposition while shooting less. So let's see if they can find a way to kind of continue to put together the formula to success here in game number 4.
And we'll see if we continue to see that shot taking from Astronic. Again, Twinzer is going to be called out. He's been the stalwart defender of 77 blocks, as there is a big save made and needed. Oh, right on the line. Already the defense shaping up when it needs to from 77 blocks, but that one was from anyone other than Twinzer. I think that was Twister and then Energizer to the follow.
You can see here, still taken to the sky. That's left off the backboard. Biscuits in front of the basket. Someone punched this thing home. Mario tries. Myrick, who's going to at least be able to take out Energizer. So it's 2v3 still here on the pitch. Makes it so they should be able to turn around and re-get this control. But Twister rising up, getting the control around the midfield line, leaving it off for Energizer with a shot on the net. And Yellow sends it towards the corner where ATR Mario gets the control. Twister, though, takes them cookies, sends it along the side wall with the angle, puts it in the back of the net.
Yeah, I'm gonna need to see this again. What?
Cookies!
Playing pinball out here in Rocket League and just relying on the collisions and the angles. Unbelievable. The cage utilized for the first goal of 77 blocks.
Mario with the steal around the midfield line, was looking to potentially go for a pinch with Byrachu, but a good defensive effort from Twister to slow things down. Don't like the whip from Energizer there, but I do like the fact that the teammate was right there to help him. But now it means people are starting to get out of place. Open net opportunity potentially if they can keep the pressure down. You can see they're going side to side with it, having to focus more on getting them stops and actually getting the boosts and collecting things up. It does change once they flip the field here, though. The question becomes, as far as the side of Astronic, can you re-enter this offensive zone and see if you can start to set things up?
Surely if they set things up, they're going to start to get the goals to go again, right? Because I was trying to hype up the defense of 77 blocks. Look at this midfield pass. Oh, great save there from Energizer. While Energizer is shaping up to have a great wall on the back line, the rest of the team for 77 blocks, not so much. I've seen team bumps. I've seen whiffs. I've seen even in and out attempted saves that just don't hit the ball. Astronic, if they get consecutive good tries on the net, surely one will rest in.
Yeah, I do got to say, you know, with you pointing out that how good Energizer's really doing, kind of leading the squad from 77 blocks, I think really setting themselves up for an early front runner for driver of the day if they're able to pull off the series win here. But that does mean they got to make sure they can continue shutting down the opposition on the side of Astronic. You can see they're pushed forward, trying to see if they can get themselves set up. A couple of stuffs, but the ball hasn't gotten cleared. Not at least until that big booming hit right there.
Q, halfway through this game, 7 saves from 77 blocks right now. And 0 from Astronic. Yet Astronic down right now. They just cannot find a way through 77 blocks as they're now at 8 saves. This is ridiculous. The defense shaping up to be legendary.
The good news for you if you're on Astronic, man, is just keep shooting because well, you also have to stop them on defense here, as we see as Twinzer is going to be able to steal this one here, or Energizer, I should say, able to steal the control and then get the pass here on this actually beautiful setup as we watched on the replay here. But I feel like for Astronic, seeing that your shots are on target, literally requiring saves instead of them, you know, off the crossbar and stuff, is a building point, but you got to find ways to launch them on target. You're running out of time here with the clock dwindling down.
Well, it comes down to the follow-up, right? I mean, we've seen shots taken where it forces a double commit, and there's limited reinforcements from that 77 blocks defense, but I don't think we've seen that power shot come in on the second attempt. So a solid offensive rotation and a game plan needed from Astronic. Maybe just a follow here. There it is from Mario. And finally, Astronic get on the board.
There it is, another shot launched right on the target. This time, no one there to bang it home and get a stop. Twinzer was the only one still left in position, but had just blocked the previous shot here. And now they're going to be able to cut this lead in half. And with 92 seconds still on the clock, plenty of Rocket League to be had.
Steel curtain finally pierced, but that paper-thin goal line of Astronic will continue to be damaged. This is still 0 registered saves on Astronic, and now the 3rd goal, this one from the kickoff.
And of course, who else with the quick response from 77 blocks here, Pyro? No one else but Twister, our Energizer, right? The one that they look for time and time again over on that side. It's crazy how they are able to deliver so consistently here. Now it's going to be 77 blocks, still setting up shop down here on this offensive end. One shot came in, now a counter potentially from the squad of Astronic, leaving it off for in yellow. That's a shot, bar down, and Twister with the save.
Yeah, no, this is unbelievable. How do you make that save, Twister? I've got to know. And then the pinball goal from earlier off the corner. I don't know what angles he's calculating, but I want the algorithm. I want to know what's happening here. 45 seconds. Great chance to hold on, but of course, more shots still going to be taken from Astronic. If there's one consistent factor in this game, Twister close to that one, but a quick turnaround needed from Astronic.
My guy Twister has 6 saves this game. We talked about how many shots were getting sent on target from Astronic, but that is absolutely wild here. What a way to take the wind out of the sails of the opposition after they were able to find their first dub after that timeout. And now after this performance here from the 77 blocks, unless there's some closing miracle in the final 10 seconds, are going to be putting themselves on series point and will be 1 game away from finding themselves in Championship Sunday.
That's going to be the case here. Match point will be had for 77 blocks after they return fire from the first win of Astronic. And Astronic, they've got a big job to do here, but in reality, what do you even adjust your Q? I mean, they dominated in the possession game, the shot game, 11 shots against 6, but 10 saves from 77 blocks. It sounds like a broken record calling out the defense of 77 blocks, but that was a big thing we harped on. At the beginning of the series, Astronic were going to be tested to get a goal through that steady backline.
Yeah, 77 blocks, more like 77 saves. My goodness, their defense just able to continue to run it up. 7 of them from Twister. And, you know, you asked, like, what do you do here? And I feel like if this was earlier in the series, Pyro, after a game like that, I would say play your cool, because law of averages tells me you keep launching that many shots on a target over on the side of Astronic, you're fine, right? But unfortunately, you do have your back up against the wall. You have 1 foot already out the door here. I think this is where you just gotta, you know, break out the wrenches, disconnect the sink, and throw everything but everything, including that sink, at the opposition, because that's the only chance you got here.
Might be necessary here. I mean, kudos to Astronic, because they have turned around the tempo completely in this series. Earlier on, it was 77 blocks to have all of the possession, all of the chances, all of the shots, dominating the midfield. It's not the case anymore. Astronic have really turned that on its head, flicked the switch, but at this point, you've got to make sure your chances count. You've got to make sure after those power shots that lead in 2, maybe even 3 defenders from 77 blocks have a follow-up ready to go. This is it. Tournament lives on the line for Astronic in game number 5.
Well, Astronic has at least been able to make sure we get ourselves a game number 5, but can they force a game number 6 here? That's going to be the big question. It definitely feels like for them, they've got to do it by starting here early. You've got to find yourself a first goal, and then probably even a second here in this first, like, 60 or 90 seconds. We see them setting up for offense. Energizer going to send that thing towards the side. Mario trying to rise up to prevent the clear, and Yellow already rotated back, puts it back down in the offensive side for Astronic.
Again, these attempts need to be nearly perfect from Astronic. That earlier take from Byrachu had an opportunity on either the shot or the pass out to Mario. Kind of threaded the needle between the two, so didn't get either one to go. Make sure that synergy is apparent, especially when you have Byrachu setting up the plays.
Moving the ball here forward, looking to try and see if they can set something up on more of a solo type of play. And of course, on the side of 77 blocks, it's okay to take those risks here now. You're the ones that are up 3-1. You've got the ability to kind of play loose and free and kind of clear here. It is going to be the side of Astronic that has to make sure that the T's are dotted and the I's are crossed and make sure that everything is on point here in this final game. Mario's going to launch a shot off the backboard, left for Byrachu, punches it in, and Astronic take the lead here first.
There it is. Make sure Byrachu is your finishing factor, the one that's striking hot. That is a banger of a goal. And where Byrachu has most often been the first man, indeed was the one to start out the possession, is leveraged on the shot from the heavens.
I did say at the top of this game here, definitely feels like the one goal isn't going to be enough. Maybe Pat not going to be able to get the two within the first 90 seconds as we see them now taken away off of that clock here. They are going to potentially still be able to go up 2-0. Nice pass play up to Mario. Energizer sends it at least and slows things down. It did end up sending it back towards the opposition, but that doesn't matter as the rest of the team was able to get back onto the defensive side, off those rotations, be able to now try and play downhill and get this thing cleared out like Energizer is going to be able to do right there. Unfortunately, just a tad bit high to trace it down in the corner, and now it's Mario back in the offensive.
You gotta wonder, we're still yet to see that big test for Astronic. Once we see a shot on target from 77 blocks, that's when you have to worry, because they were not able to credit any saves in the last game. Of course, they are firing away on attack and making 77 blocks sweat here on defense. But 2 minutes 40 still on the clock. There's plenty of time for 77 to turn this around, as they may here dribble from Energizer, taken away by Yellow.
Mario here keeping the ball under control, was trying to see if they get the control past Twister as well, but as for now you can see Yellow is able to at least take the ball away and sends it deep back in their defensive side, where Byrachu's ready to farm this thing and collect it up off of the corner, trying to see if they can move it forward, but Twinzer meets with that little bit of resistance past Twinzer. Now it's Twister stepping up. Energizer tries to rise up for the touch, not going to be able to do so. Big clear coming across though, and remember for Astronic, they don't necessarily need to score here as much as we have talked about a second goal possibly being required. For as long as they can keep the ball down on this orange half of the pitch, they're just simply letting this time waste away.
Oh, I mean, I hear you, but at the same time, 77 blocks, they've been very efficient when they do get offensive tries, including this one right here. Double commit from Astronic is going to send that ball away, but there's an open opportunity for Twister. So close on the double tap. Shot sent too high. Might have been in, given the power behind it. And a good opportunity for 77 blocks runs dry.
Windsor here now in the corner, going to be coming across off of that. I think looking for Twister. Yeah, there it was, just trying to touch that thing down. Unfortunately, the ball just a bit high, so the shot also follows in the same sort of fashion here. But moving back forward off of that 50, able to keep the ball down here on the offensive side for 77 blocks. You talked about their efficiency here earlier, Pyro, but they only have 62 seconds to try and at least tie things up here.
You're right. And Astronic, they're looking better than ever in this series, and they're gonna make it count on this effort here. The back line is wide open, and Mario takes full advantage.
You see Twinzer was trying to get across from that side or that back wall, but was still just a little too high and over the ball. Otherwise, might have been able to make a play. 2-0 here for Astronic. Definitely feels like they've got to be feeling good for now, but 77 blocks still does have some time to pull things off. I mean, 50 seconds for 2 goals. We've definitely seen crazier things happen.
It's a fact. Energizer. Do we have the sidewall? No. Won't find the double there. Mario leaves the ball available, though, for Twinzer. Twister can't get the bump or the ball to go. Energizer solid on the 50-50. Pass set up high, and Yellow sees it. It's in the danger zone and finds it away. Full boost here from Mario. Across the court, Energizer, quick challenge. And to the corner we go. Twinzer out to Byrachu, sends this ahead, and more time spent in the orange half is good looks for Astronic as they look to pull this to game number 6. Mario down to Byrachu. Oh, put the stamp on it. So close. Crossbar down, and Yellow with a try, and that's too high as well. But it's all good. The work's been done. They've earned the next game of the set as we move on to game number 6.
We get more games here in our second matchup of the day, as we do still have the Rule 0 going on, keeping that ball up and alive, trying to see if they can get one more for the road potentially, but inevitably ends up hit to the ground. Astronic winning game number 5 and now have themselves just one game away from also being on series point. And man, this sure has gotten interesting, has it, Pyro?
It gets interesting in the same way that the puzzle pieces start coming together and you can finally see the full picture. It's felt like throughout the series, Astronic just have one missing piece that's like I don't know, underneath the couch cushions, or somebody stole it, right? But it's come together, right? They had everything working on the attack, in the midfield, and the possession, but just had no defense in the last game. As it shaped up here in game number 5, everything's coming through. This team is in their rhythm. The big question, though, can you persist a consistent effort through the eventual game 6 and maybe 7 of the series?
Yeah, I mean, one thing that Astronic has failed to do thus far in the series is win them back-to-back. Now, not only do they need to win them back-to-back, but they got to pull off the three-peat here. So, you know, obviously they've already used their timeout, so you don't have any extra time in between games, but still this couple, this minute that you get to kind of count things down, you still get to look out to the boy and be like, hey, we're starting to do it. Let's, you know, kind of calm things down a little bit. We've shown ourselves the ability to win. And while we cannot necessarily win this next series in this next game, we can lose this series in this next game. So it's time to lock in.
Lock it in. Lock it down. We've been talking about the shots needed, but as well how defense has been winning these games. Majority of them for 77 blocks, but as of late, Astronic, they can continue to hold it down and get shots and opportunities like this. We may just see that game 7. It's a quick start for Astronic.
Talk about a good start here. Also helps with that little bit of extra effort from Mario, right? Makes the save a little bit tougher. They're not able to get the easy clear off that. This ball just ends up bouncing right into the laps of Aniello, who is then going to make you pay every single time, sometimes twice on Saturday. They will do that just there, and as we saw.
Already to a good start here. Fire True from the corner, and now it's Twinzer. Trying to pick up every pad of boost to get on the contest, but just can't meet it. Instead, shot here from Byrachu. And this team, it's unrelenting. I mean, at this point, can they even be stopped? 77 blocks doing everything they can, but getting suffocated.
And they are just pushing up and pushing this pace here, baby. That is 2 goals in 28 seconds. A way to really come out of the gates here in game number 6 and really flex your stuff, really start to assert yourself and try and dictate the pace of things here early. A demo is going to slow down things on the side of for 77 blocks, getting things out, but a big booming clear from Twinzer. Second touch from Twister, drops it back down for Twinzer, who looks for the shot, but Mario with the save.
Big save needed, and it is garnered from Mario, who, by the way, as a player, we really need to talk about. I've been hyping up Byrachu this entire time, but realistically, we're starting to see the goals come through from Byrachu because of Mario's effort. It was an incredible set of 50-50s from the setup Byrachu on that last play, where more normally he's needed to get the shots to go from Byrachu's setup. So this is a duo that's working in a fantastic way to keep Astronic ahead.
Are looking to drop things off. The Twister had the opposition, able to get shut down here from Aniello. Kind of a dangerous back pass if we're being honest, but does end up working in their favor. Mario's going to be just a tad bit high, and Yellow not able to make a play on that. What a shot from Twinzer, bang! And that's going to be able to cut this deficit in half.
This goal is just that cold reminder that 77 blocks are still on that semifinals bid match point. Right, that shot that comes off the mistake, the miss in the air, says, Astronic, you want to pull this to game 7, you need a near perfect game, not to miss any opportunities, and to try and contest against these shots. Boy, Mario finds a way out here, and they're still trying to survive.
Whew, that was a close opportunity, one that would have brought this thing towards the draw, but as for now, still a 2-1 lead. Astronic going to have to try and find a way to calm things down. I was going to say, because they have a wide open goal of Energizers, able to get their 4 tires down the ground, wasn't able to do so quite in time, and Yellow now looking for the clear, up to Mario, who's going to get the second touch off the backboard, leaves things down here in the offensive zone, and again, Astronic being absolutely ruthless and flying towards the ball in the offensive zone.
Some flying certainly being required here, as everybody going for that aerial attempt. Won over by 77 blocks as Twinzer puts us on target, barely there in time. Is Mario to get the save and then the clear. Energizer well positioned for it though. Paying with their life, and so does Twister. So some time provided for Astronic. They don't use the time. The one remaining player of 77 blocks, Twinzer, finds an open look.
man, talk about fumbling the bag. Only one player that's available in your backfield. No one able to figure out where they're at. And then also the whiffed ball in the corner. And all of a sudden, we're tied up with 2 minutes and 20 seconds left on the clock. It's going to be really up for Astronic to find some way to slow down this momentum that's starting to build on the orange half of the pitch.
That confidence off the demolitions, and then you realize one mistake can still make you pay. 77 blocks. They're scoring off of punishing mistakes. If they can do it again, they'll have their lead. They'll have match point ready to take. A lot called to action here for Astronic. Did not miss any plays, but the same for 77 blocks as a close call is made on the goal line.
Says one touch up here, trying to move the ball forward, but Twister is going to be able to at least rise up and send things very briefly in the offensive zone. Byrachu has other things in mind, trying to flip the field here, but you got to watch the backside. Energizer bearing down, going to be able to get the demo. Mario pass up, that's a thing of beauty up to Yellow, and she should be able to take a lead like that. You know they've got to be feeling good.
Oh, and Yellow do it to him. Unbelievable angle here. Teed up by Mario. And again, now Yellow says, I'm hearing you talking about both of my teammates. Talk about this lead for Astronic.
Big here now with about 80 seconds here left. We are getting closer to seeing that game 7. I think everybody was hoping to see with this matchup here. And now it's Twister, pass up towards Energizer. Unfortunately, that does garner the control back over to the side of Astronic off the whip. Should be Byrachu able to pass things forward, but Twister able to get a touch on it. Leaves things deep in the corner, left it off for Mario, who did have a full boost in the tank, allows him to rise up and get the clear. 60 seconds here now for 77 blocks to find the back of the net at least one more time.
Twister finds a save. Mario realizes they've got time to play this ball, so takes the wide turn, but drive challenge for Energizer ensures the demolition. Byrachu out to Mario from the corner. 50-50 there from Energizer. Open look there for Yellow. And they're unrelenting. There's no hope for the lone defender of 77 blocks.
And the hats get thrown out onto the pitches. We see Yellow getting their third of the game. Each and every one of those being assisted, though, by Mario. Talk about an optimal dimer. 4 assists for the 4 goals for their team.
Yep. Yeah. Mario has had the vision. Talk about the playbook just opened up for every opportunity. Mario's not only done it with every single assist, but save after save as well. Credit the player and what he's accomplished in this game in such clutch form to bring this to game number 7 just about as the final seconds wane off this game. A bouncer, a scary one here that Yellow has to deal with, but that's the last to do it before they'll all meet here in this quarterfinal series on Champions Field.
Let's get to Champions Field and see who it is that's going to be joining our other 2 qualifiers thus far for our final 4. And what a way for Astronic to really turn things around in these last couple games. It felt like 77 blocks had been much dictating the pace early on, and it seems like Astronic has really figured things out here as of late.
I am mystified right now, to see just 2 saves made from 77 blocks. I mean, we have flipped the script completely into Astronic having a hard time getting a single save in a game to now 7 on the stat sheet, not allowing a single easy look from 77 blocks. That said, when you do look at the 2 goals from 77 blocks in this game, Q, as 77 blocks does call a timeout before game 7, it's both off the mistakes of Astronic. We noticed the double demolition, the miss in the corner. Right. Then we saw that missed challenge as the first goal for the open look from 77 blocks. It feels like easy mistakes for Astronic to clean up to keep an even score sheet.
Yeah, but I do think that's why it's important to take this time out.
Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't agree more here, Q, as you go into the Shadow Realm. He got demoed, folks. I'm sorry. We gotta keep the stat sheet up in the demolitions. He'll be back with us shortly, I'm sure. But he's mentioned the fact that this is why a timeout needs to be called, and I couldn't agree more. 77 blocks, you cannot ensure yourself that you're just gonna score off of mistakes alone from Astronic. You've got to create those opportunities yourself here, especially when it comes down to game 7, especially when your tournament lives are on the line, especially when we have this long break in the split coming forth. If you're gonna get knocked here at the end of the series, it's gotta be after you put it all out on the field here to go for game number 7, Q.
And game number 7, we are here. The time has finally expired on the timeout, and now there ain't nothing else left to do but get down here, get these players up on the pitch, roll the clocks back to 5, and let's see who's got what it takes to secure their spot in the top 4 for Championship Sunday.
Let's get it. All comes down to this. Us analysts love to say that series could go the distance. Well, this time it finally did. Game number 7 of a hot start from 77 blocks, but a late blooming from Astronic, who rises to the occasion here on Champions Field.
Mario able to rise up here off of getting that ball right around the midfield line, trying to see if they can make something happen with it. Was, I think, looking for Agnello, but to no avail. Byrachu doing a good job as the third back to still be able to keep this ball down in the offensive zone, but the defense that we've seen from 77 blocks still holding tall. Of course, it's early here in game number 7. They're going to have to make sure that they play a darn near perfect game here.
Every play has to be near perfected here. Windsor, a big demolition on the Mario to take away some of the steam off that early attack from Astronic. It's going to rise back up again. This ball's off the ceiling. Twinzer has to quick challenge it to make sure the shot does not come forth, but Byrachu still on it. Another demo from 77 blocks. Even on attack, 77 blocks finding great resistance on these powerful clearing demolitions. And it's really keeping Astronic at bay here at the start.
Push here now is going to be Astronic trying to enter back into that zone, see if they can get things starting to cook. That's a shot from Agnello. Twister, though, gets themselves a nice little save. But also down deep here into the 77 blocks territory, at least until we see this play coming across. Twinzer now trying to lead the charge up the field. Now it's going to be left to Twister, who is the third back, launches the shot on the target, but Mario comes in with a big save. Twister tries to follow it up with a second, but it goes just a tad bit high.
Typically, you pay for double commits like that, but that last shot just missed the mark from 77 blocks, and they've got to start again. Oh, from the other side of the field. They've got to start again from the kickoff instead. Byrachu snipes our first goal.
Whew, from distance here, Twister almost gets there, just not quite enough. And it is 1-0 in favor of Astronic. And you gotta feel, with the fact that they've won the last 2, they've gotta be feeling good here. If they are able to find themselves one more, even though the game won't technically be over, it feels like that just might be enough to start moving things in their favor to shut things down and go to Sunday.
Oh, I'm not ready to call it enough. Not on game 7, not where we've seen 77 blocks. Pose a resistance like this. They're still garnering incredible saves on the goal line. And though that was one blip, we still do credit them on some big saves, as well as these demos that still continue to come through. They've got the turnaround as well. Traded demolitions make for a 2v2 for a second. A long clear necessary from Agnello to turn it around.
Mario going to be able to at least keep this ball down here in the offensive zone. They are currently up now that we are halfway through game number 7. For them looking to try and strike again. Byrachu's going to get themselves a shot sent aside from Twinzer. Mario rising up, trying to keep the pressure down here in this offensive zone, but does get sent aside, and it's Energizer able to garner the control, but ball gets away from him. Left off for Twinzer. A couple of bumps might be the opportunity they need, but that sails high for Twister.
Talk about a meteor strike there from Twister. That was close to finding the net, but Mario had it all taken care of. Turnaround shot there from Agnello. Taken away by Twister. Byrachu working this in the corner. This has set up so many opportunities for the team. That was their bread and butter. Byrachu off the corner, straight to Mario in the damage zone, but they just weren't there. Ball off the post, not red from 77 blocks. Byrachu scores.
And this is tough here. I'm not sure if we just have where Twins or Energizer doesn't have the boost the tank to get up and make a more play to send it out, but it looked like a little bit of hesitation. And in games like this, in moments like this, hesitation kills, and Astronic now going to be up by 2.
So right, hesitation. You can't do it here in game number 7. Spoke earlier, right before this game, about the fact that 77 blocks, they have to create their own opportunities. You cannot rely on the mistakes from Astronic, as they just haven't come through yet in this game. Offensive attack here for 77 blocks. That is necessary. It's a race. It's a pursuit to the goal line. That's not going to be won by 77 blocks. Byrachu undefeated.
Byrachu has completely evolved here. 3 goals to be able to send their team ahead right now. And with just 78 seconds left on the clock, 77 blocks has to find an answer. They have to find it quick. Doesn't necessarily need to be off the kickoff, but you feel like the first of your 3 goals has to happen right around that 60-second mark.
We've seen a lot of midfield plays, 4 shots on target. That one comes so close for 77 blocks. It's above the ceiling. Shot there. That's going to be wide. 77 blocks finally getting their opportunities, but just missing their mark. This is the time to be as precise as ever. Energizer on the 50-50, beaten out by Yellow. Twinser to Twister on that counterattack. It's taken up. It's intercepted. Oh, it was almost Byrachu's world that we were living in. Double tap, just a miss.
But nobody over on the side of 77 blocks able to garner the control, at least not until now, but plenty of time has continued to dwindle off the clock. And as we now see 30 seconds up on the scoreboard, the math just ain't mathing to me right now here, Pyro. And it looks like Astronic, after being down early, it is going to be them who have sealed their fate. Them who's going to be going on a championship Sunday in such amazing fashion.
Sometimes you may be down, but you're never out. Astronic begin the series down 1-3, had to pull each and every game in succession for the win, and they did just that, and in convincing fashion. Byrachu, 4 goals, 4 wins, and now this qualifier in the top 4.
And talk about a turnaround from this Astronic squad, from a team that got they were outshot, and I mean, the production on the scoreboard, it was basically 11 goals to 5 when we were 4 games through this series. And then to be able to turn things around the way that they have, and just been so dominant in these last 3 games here, to be able to seal their deal by holding them to just 2 goals in the final 3. Talk about a turnaround for Astronic.
Massive turnaround. I mean, we're seeing Astronic vie as well for potential championship Sunday grand final as well. Like, the path does not include Limitless, so it always is available, right? In SSA, it feels like that's how it goes. So brawling it out for this victory is going to make the future of Astronic in this qual look so good. And we will be convinced from here on out that no matter where Astronic are in the series, they've always got a chance.
And they definitely have that ability to flip the switch, don't they, Graybeard?
Well, I got to tell you this: when I get 2 predictions right on the trot, we know things things have entered a new realm, and nothing makes sense anymore if I'm getting predictions right. And 2 of them in a row is just crazy. And that series kept not going the way I thought it was going to go. After game 2, I was like, oh my word, we're going to have a really early night here with 2 sweeps in a row. We're going to have this whole quarterfinal day done and dusted within like 3 hours or 2 hours. But the timeout made a difference. They came out immediately and won the next game, but then lost the one after that. So I thought, okay, it worked for 1 game, but I'm not sure. In my mind, it seems like and Yellow seemed to have something happened with him, and suddenly he was like a main feature. So I don't know if it was just waiting too long, Pyro, for them to get back in and not close it out. But I mean, right until the end, I was convinced that 77 would take it.
It was kind of like, okay, when is the engine really going to get started for each and every player? Because in my opinion, at the start of the series, Bairuchu was ready to go, setting up each and every opportunity. Game number 1, it was just the assist of the one and only goal from that team. And then in game number 2, they didn't score at all. So you're wondering, okay, we need Mario to come online. Did that mid-series. We need Agnello to come online as well. Did that late in the series as well. And I got to tell you, once Astronic do truly find their rhythm, if they're contesting a 77 blocks team that saves the ball so well, that dominates the midfield, man, that's a tough team to beat.
Astronic, they book their slot in the semi-finals. That's as far as I know, that's their... Q, am I right in saying that's their best result so far?
Yeah, I do believe so. Let me do a quick peek here just to make sure for sure, but it does look like they, finished kind of right around like just before Swiss the first one they made it into Swiss. Last round they made it just before Swiss. So this is definitely their best finish thus far.
Awesome. All right. Well, it was a fabulous performance, and there were some great shots in the highlights packages we were seeing. There were some great shots there, but Pyro, and Yellow's shot off the backboard. I mean, well, there were 2 shots. I don't know if it was Yellow as well from the corner in one of the games, or was that a 77 block shot? I mean, there were a couple of incredible.
That was a 77 block shot. I think it was Twister who had this power shot into the corner that just ricocheted into the net. That was a little bit of luck because it came off a dunk as well. If you want to call a goal for the game, or the series, excuse me, definitely Agnello with that redirect goal.
Yeah, fantastic stuff. And so we've had the extreme results. We've had the 4-0 sweep, and then we've had the Game 7 thriller. So so do we get something in between next, or one of the extremes once more?
In between next, I see what you did there. That was a good one.
You know what? I so badly wanted to take credit for that, but you spotted it. I did it by accident. But it's fabulous. Driver of the day is open. Who is your driver of the day? Player of the day? Who's had the most impact? Who's had the most influence in the direction of a series or a game? Go and vote. acgl.gg/vote and vote for your driver of the day. It will be announced at the very end. So we are 2 quarterfinals done, and as bizarre as it sounds, there is only one more quarterfinal to be had today, and this time it is Next and Owned. Owned is a sort of combo reunion and South Africa roster, and of course Next, a Dutch roster currently living in Reunion Island. That quarterfinal coming up next to decide who will meet Astronic in the semi-finals. See ya after the break. There is just one semi-final slot left. 2 teams who want that semi-final slot. First up, we have Next Aqua, and they are a Dutch team living in Reunion. They've been there since the beginning of the season. They had made plans last year already to make their way over to Reunion and play from there. And that team, including Gizu, who's no stranger to SSA. He played on a team here last season with ATK back in the day with Werty. And then for me, sort of a team absolutely on the rise, and I'm very excited about that. And that is owned with Galaxy, who's been around a long time, hasn't had much success, but is on a great trajectory now. Heatsy, who I've rated for a long time, and then, of course, Defunct. And I realize I'm getting way ahead of myself, guys, because I immediately wanted to go there, and we're going to get to them in a second. And it's a matchup I'm particularly excited about, and we'll talk about it a bit more in detail. But overall, a surprising... deserved winners in the end, but it does feel Q like they let it slip through their fingers. 77 blocks.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely interesting kind of looking at how efficient their offense was able to be in the first half. I mean, they outscored the opposition. It's like 11-5. And then in the last 3 games, you scored 2 goals. It's hard to not say that some of that was on you. Like, as much as I would love to sit here and praise Astromik and be like, hey, you found the game plan and turned things around, to have that big of a fall off, it can't help but wonder if a little bit was once you start falling behind, the mental starts to fall off too. Feels like a 77 blocks kind of let this one slip through for sure.
Pyro, what I've always loved about Rocket League, the thing that drew me to Rocket League many years ago, is it appealed to my sense of attention deficit disorder. Games are 5 minutes long. And I was like, this is fantastic. I only have to pay attention for like 5 minutes, 6 minutes with the replays and all of that. It's a nice short chunk of time. But I've always been impressed by and amazed by the mental calories that seem to be burnt in Rocket League, because it's 5 or 6 minutes of persistent focus. And it sort of seems like that might have... as they got closer to the finish line, maybe looking away, maybe taking the foot off the gas, not staying locked in, especially sort of game sort of 5, 6, and certainly 7.
Well, first of all, you got a little less time because there were no overtimes in that series. So, you look at a 5-minute game, sometimes it can really go the distance. We had some crazy overtimes there in the Swiss stage. But
fair enough.
You're right. You've got to stay locked in. The mental is key here, especially when your tournament lives are on the line here in the playoffs. One big thing you can do to counteract that and to reset are those timeouts. And you know what? That is really what did turn it around for our Astronic team. They dropped that first 2 games, said, hey, I saw what happened to Mongolia. They got swept. They didn't call a timeout. We don't want to be that team. We're going to call the timeout. We're going to press pause, get that mental in check, and turn it around. So credit due to them for being able to reset and taking each and every 5-minute length to the distance.
All right, well, that's that. And now let's talk about our final quarterfinal match of the day. And that was, as I mentioned in the opening, Owned versus Next Aqua. And this is, look, I mean, Owned already, both of these, I think, have gotten as far as they've gotten. I know Next has certainly made a top 8 before. Not sure if
Next made top 4 the first regional.
They did make the top 4. Okay, fine. You're quite right. This is as far as Owned has got. And I had a brief chat with Heatsy yesterday, and I was like, well done. You guys have done, it's the best you've done. He's like, yeah, but the job's not done. They want to go further. So this should be, to me, Pyro, Own feel like a team on the rise. Aqua, Next they've been good, but a little inconsistent.
I can agree with that. It's funny to call them that when they're coming in as the 1 seed here for the playoff journey,
Yeah,
the consistency's coming in anyway. It's been now for sure. And so, for NXT, you look at players maybe like Lacrom to continue to have that higher goal per game average, as well as the shots be the driving force of the attack, and maybe be that consistent measure for NXT.
Yeah, and I'm looking at that team comparison there, and yeah, Lacram, at least based on those stats, Pyro seems like a key player, a player you want to have coming into the series in good form.
Definitely. And, you know, we can continue to talk about these players. We look at Gizu and Defunct here. I feel like these are just, you know, they're vets of the scene that you gotta remember about. Gizu having time on ATK, similarly to Galaxy on Owned, funnily enough, but Defunct was part of that Apex roster not too long ago, who was vying for that top 4 bout that if any of the top teams were taking on, Defunct would be that striker to break through the defense. So, I mean, we're talking about Lacrom on one side of NXT, but I got my eyes on Defunct this series to make the goals happen.
All right, well, let's get chat involved. Chat, time for your opinion, your vote. The chat vote is open. Hashtag NXT for next and hashtag OWD for owned. And what I was delighted with, Q, is firstly, Owned were picked up by a French org. Owned is a French org. And I'm loving more and more that sort of French South Africa connection that's coming through because of how well Reunion Island is done. And Reunion Island was like a half-forgotten answer on a geography test for me 2 years ago. Now it's the place I most want to visit in the world. But great for them to pick up, and they've done incredibly well. And I don't know how much you've tracked of them and how you feel about their chances here.
Well, so I like this Owned matchup here, especially versus Next, because these two teams have actually somewhat recently played against each other. As much as Next we saw was able to make top 4 and actually took YMC to all 7 and best of 7, the reason they didn't make Swiss in Qualifier 2 was because Owned beat them. So these two teams have played against one another. I also can't lie to you, got a little bit of a soft spot for the French, you know what I mean? So, like, I do feel like the Owned squad here, they are going to come out on top. I feel like they've got a lot of momentum going on their side. They are a team that continues to seem to get better like fine wine. I expect them to kind of continue to do so here.
All right, Q, can I take that as a prediction then for Owned?
Oh, go ahead and slap that bad boy down there on the bottom. Give me Owned in 6.
All right, then, Pyro, your prediction.
Going the other way here with this one. NXT, they're in on that 1 seed, and I don't think their journey ends here.
All right, well, chat vote has been right the last 2 series, and both times it was 54%. Currently, Owned is at 53%, so that's as close as we can get, and they are my current favorite team, so I'm going to go with Owned. And if chat can help out here and get a few more votes in for Owned, so we get that up to 54%, so we have a consistent data set throughout. But we 45, 55, 49. Oh no! Oh no! Oh. Next got a bunch of votes. Next is ahead at 51%. Huh. Okay, so there we go. My solid reasoning there might have all gone out of the window. So Owned get 2 votes on the desk. Next get just the 1, and this is to lock in the place in that final semi, the last of the semi-final berths. The winner here is going to go up against the Astronic team that just managed to, you feel like they sniped 77 blocks in the end. So that's who they will be getting to beat. And now the chat vote, by the way, is bang on 50-50. So it doesn't get much closer than that. So Owned is at 54%. Yes, we did it.
Come on, chat. What are you doing?
All right, chat, you've done your job. Congratulations. It's time for it now to play out. It is Owned versus Next Aqua for the final quarterfinal of the day. Let's go.
Owned Esports, the darling from sub-Saharan Africa, or is it the Reunies team, base team of NXT, Aqua Vitesse? 1 spot in the semifinals left, and Pyro, that's 1 spot is going to be fought over dearly.
I'll tell you what, if we learned anything from the matches today, especially the last, it will be fought for dearly. It will be an all-out brawl. We just went to Game 7, just had Champions Field. I don't know about you, Mock, but I'm ready to take a trip there again.
I mean, you know, I wouldn't be opposed to it, I guess.
Okay.
Champions Field sounds a lot better than in my early outing where I just had a sweep. Question is, can Owned bring it to the table once more? The opening 30 seconds, the answer seems to be they cannot.
Okay, we're seeing who's got the right footing here, who primed their engine beforehand, and whether we're winning that race back to the goal line or not. Taken a bit by surprise here is Owned Esport off a first goal from NXT Aqua. They're that first seed in the playoffs here, Mocked, and they want to act like it.
They certainly want to, and I believe we've sort of looked over NXT's run a little bit. 3-0 victory in round 1, 3-0 victory in round 2 as well, only dropping 1 game over the entirety of Swiss. So they are certainly a team that is, when they're on it, they're really on it, but when they're not feeling it, that's when they can struggle a bit. When it's not, when they, when they're not really feeling it, their momentum is sort of stumped. And that's when they struggle most of the times. That is why Owned Esport could beat them in the qualifier, in open qualifier number 2, and eliminated them from contention of that regional. But hopefully for next, bygones can be bygones. Owned come back though with an equalizer here.
Oh yeah, next. This is too much free time on the ball here. You got Yarno kind of plummeting off the crossbar. You got another one lunging at the ball after that 50-50, but Heatsy, way to be on top of the play. Get to the ball immediately and strike when the iron's hot.
Heatsy does strike, but there's Lekram. Double flip reset to the bottom right corner. Heatsy gets it out of that corner. An immaculate stretch to reach it on the goal line still, but you could see NXT are certainly poised and are certainly ready to cause some damage. Defunct, long clear out of his own half, makes Gizzo work for his clear, and that ball careening towards top ends. It's not quite in.
Oh, Defunct, what a landing on that ball here. Gizu out the other way, but stretches it across the other side. I am really enjoying seeing Galaxy and Gizu both kind of go head-to-head here. Used to be on the same team of ATK not so long ago, and now we're seeing them butt heads here in game number 1 of this quarterfinals. Who's gonna have that upper hand here as we're still equalized?
They are still equal, and I mean there's a lot of you have that in a relatively small professional bubble scene in SSA that most of these players actually know each other quite intimately from being teammates or have just played against each other for so long. So this import of people like Lekram and Jarno going to freshen up the competitive scene of Sub-Saharan Africa as well. But Galaxy doesn't need any freshening up. He's going to do dirty his opponents.
That's coast to coast as well. Just catches the ball from off the backboard, gets the reset, has so many options, but takes it to the ground instead, recognizing the space provided, utilizing it well.
Utilizing it very well indeed, and after a 1-0 deficit, Owned a score twice consecutively for a 2-1 lead. Galaxy looking for a third, but that shot, wayward Gizzo, wouldn't have been there anyway. Still, it's a very close match between these two. Defunct going to rotate in and thinks better of it as Jarno has got complete ball control.
Oh, Gizu wide opening here. Double demolition from Jarno. And it doesn't get more free than that.
Yep, that sometimes all you need as an attacker is simply for there not to be a defender. 2 demos from Jarno, and that's the openest of all the nets.
We love to see it, I mean, the off-the-ball play is becoming more and more paramount in the meta of this game. And when you got a heat-seeking missile like Jarno, you couldn't ask for a better asset if you're next here. And they're trying to work off that momentum now. Gizu 0 boost, but the pass does come out. Defunct catches this. There's the release off the jump, but Lekram handles it beautifully.
Lekram has got one, and it's going to be again on his back. Drive this ball out of offense. Jarno's pass not going to catch him, but at least Jarno will be still with the play. A minute left here in game number 1, all squared. on the result currently, and neither team really having a definitive advantage. This is very much here in the balance, Pyro.
Oh boy, Galaxy the other way. Arno all prepared to contend against it. And Heatsy does find Defunct, but Yarno takes it away out to the other side. Doesn't want to give an easy counterattack, so sets it off to the side. Oh, very relevant here is the goal line action. Again, the bumps coming through. This time, Oni Esports a bit more resilient, but can they contend against this shot? No! Gizu plays pinball with the post for the go-ahead goal.
Gizu plays pinball, the Crumb to get it down, and then a fortuitous bounce for Gizzo. It's a late lead in favor of Next Aqua Vitesse. And now the kickoff phase has to just be survived. Gizzo's a great follow-up. It's a fortunate bounce as well, but Heatsy more than ready for that.
Here it is, last chance. Galaxy up on the aerial attack. Contending against LaCrom. There's a double shot on the goal line, but the shot goes high and wide. That was the opportunity. Still yet to be found, though, is a ball through the net here in the last 30 as the seconds drain. Defunct cannot keep this ball alive. Next, Aqua take game one.
Next, take game number one. And although their on-the-ball plays were really good, it is about the off-the-ball plays, Pyro, that you mentioned earlier, especially the physicality brought by Yano, who's been, to be fair, described by his own coach, by Psycho, as chaos incarnate.
You love to see it. I mean, if there's going to be anything that takes a team out of their rhythm, it's going to be that chaos. It's going to be the demolition plays. You saw the double demo setting up one of the first goals there from Next Aqua, and henceforth continuing to get those demolitions, adding up to 4 in the game from just Yarno. So OD Sport, you know, it's a call to action for them. Have your head on a swivel. Expect the bump plays or the demos as you're near your backline, and if you can dodge them effectively, you'll set up a better defense.
Yeah, and that mostly comes from, or needs to come from, a shift of focus in terms of communication, right? Where comms are always going to be hectic, but mostly going to be concerned with, okay, how much boost do you have? Where are you positioned? But you have to also keep an eye out on Yano. As soon as Yano's no longer in your field of vision, basically, you need to be scared.
Well, shiver me timbers. They may be frightened as ever here as we get into game number 2 down in the series, but certainly far from out. It's time to shake those nerves and lock in for game 2.
It's a long series that is remaining, of course, in a best of 7. Only one game played, nothing decided yet, and only look as far as our last series between 77 Blocks and Astronic Skills Quest for what can be done with a bit of hope and a lot of, well, endurance, really, by Astronic. Nothing, though, will brace you. It will prepare you for the onslaught of Next Aqua Vitesse, and that onslaught is already going to start here. Gizzo tries, but Heatsy defends his net with all his might.
Well, there's LaCrom with all his might. Power shot into the corner, pass out to Gizu. This is laid up, available for Yarno. Immediately takes the reset to the corner. Figured an attack to the net was coming, but instead, it's just the possession that continues here for Next Aqua. The Funk carries this out from the ceiling, finds Heatsy, but initial challenge from LaCrom puts it away. Gizu with the chance here in the air. Backboard pass available for Yarno. Shot just wide. Gizu continues it though. Backboard touch across from one defender. Owned Esports resilient, but up the demo from the bump. There's an opening. Yarno double tap, just a miss. And Next Aqua comes so close to that first goal.
Just a miss, not quite there. The contact needed, and now they have to be wary on the counter-attack. Galaxy gets it central. Gizzo finds LaCrom to his right. Defunct already rotating back, but no! It's chaos! It is absolute unfortunate events taking place on the back line of OD Sport.
Like 99% of the touches there that Defunct could have made, I think would have been credited as a save. There was that one sliver of an angle that could end up as an own goal. Clearly taken off guard here, our own Esports. Firstly off the counter, and now off the kickoff.
It's going to be trouble. And make it double kickoff goal for Next Aqua Vitesse and a comfortable 2-goal lead inside 2 minutes played for the Dutch. That who certainly look poised to take this second game in a row if it wasn't for their opponents having a word to say, to speak in this series.
Owned, man, you got to find a way to carry out some kind of possession and some kind of answer here. Galaxy, it's a great save, but right now this team has registered 1 shot, and I don't even want to imagine the possession percentage against them right now because it's not pretty. They can keep making these clears off the backboard and touching it out to the midfield, but as Next Aqua keep them suffocated in their own end. It looks like there's no exit route for this team.
There's no exit route. Also, Next Aqua Vitesse sublime in controlling the boost. Again, it's no boost on own eSport. It's an easy pass to LeCram, and he's gonna slot it in. Crossbar down. 3-0 in favor of Next Aqua Vitesse.
Yarno, with that high first touch, and I'm like, you gonna follow that, man? You got time, you got boost. Like, what are you waiting for? Oh yeah, he's calling out his teammate to drive in the shot instead. And you can't ask for more of a beaut. That one barred down in 3-0 and up for Next.
3-0 up due to good boost control. Can they establish that once more? Galaxy going away, looking for a pinch with Defunct. That pinch, however, not coming through, but still Defunct found in the opponent's half. Can look for a double. Gizzo has his backboard under wraps.
LeCram, here it is. Counter-attack. Defunct does evade the bump and get the save. That's going to be the difference maker here for Owned Esport. It's off of these disruption plays that Next Aqua have been scoring off so well. But if Defunct and other teammates can evade those attacks and counter in this way, there's so much better chance for Owned.
It's easier said than done, certainly, to evade the bump, to evade the physicality. And that seems to be their way forward. A demo from Heatsy on Gizzo, trying to open up space in the opposing third. However, not going to be. Yarno doesn't get a touch. LeCram has to bail him out.
And Defunct does get that shot to register, but there's more to be asked for here for Owned. As Defunct on the other side here. Solid first touch to keep this ball in his domain. Takes the 50-50. Comes across with it, but pays for his life. Now Heatsy in the corner. Time to get things cooking. If you're Owned Esport with Galaxy on a ceiling touch. LeCram does read it. Defunct is behind this. But operating so slowly on the ball. It allows Gizu instead to challenge it early. And the fast-moving, the quick pace of Next Aqua seems to be defeating Owned. Galaxy double tap. Just gonna be off the mark here. And as Owned Esport, they can't get these shots to go. It is still this deafening blow continuing to come from Next.
Oh, and that blow might be coming through in the end as well to seal game number 2, a 4th one for Next. The goal from Yarno, panic on the goal line, panic on the dance floor, and 4 goals to better for the Dutch.
Next Aqua, they're grooving to the rhythm. You can't have no rhythm if you're bumped, poked, and prodded throughout the entire series of Owned Esport. There is still a need to contest in that way. And what a difference here between games 1 and 2. It felt like Owned Esport, they had a treasure map that led them to the island, but then they got on the island and they have no idea where to go from that. They're just digging endlessly through the sand. They need direction as we continue halfway to the mark. Now is Next.
Well, perhaps they should leave the treasure map on the abandoned island, or on the island, to Heatsy, as he is the only one from the island where currently all 3 Next Aqua Vitesse players are also based. So on that island where the treasure is buried, Next certainly have a slight little advantage, but that advantage is going to be tried to be taken away as Owned do take their timeout.
Yeah, they're taking their time out and they're figuring out how to find that exit route. Like I was discussing earlier, Next Aqua They're playing this physical play style, but they're also garnering a deep offensive rotation, which doesn't allow them necessarily to get the most quickest follow-ups and be right in position for the quick infield pass, but it does allow them to continue to boost starve, to continue the possession, and put Owned Esport in a place where they can't really capitalize off a counter because they don't have the resources for it. So for Owned Esport, they've got to find a way to turn it around and maybe make Next Aqua pay for that deep offensive rotation, break through and start to get more registered shots, because mocked in that game, each player only had one for the count.
Yeah, that's obviously not enough, but I mean, we also see here is a bit of a difference in general speed level and general snappiness to a play. I feel like Owned is just being outpaced a lot of the time. Yes, that does come down to the boost control, but that Nexus is able to exert. But at the same time, I feel like Owned can play a lot quicker. They just try to play as methodical as they can. Clearly hasn't been working if that was their game plan. The one thing I want to see as a reaction here from Owned is just to speed it up a bit. Don't let Next have those kind of free touches. Always try to pressure them. Basically, try to be Astronic, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, the high-level pressure that came from the quick maneuvering of Astronic, I couldn't agree more. Byrachu definitely included in that conversation. But I agree with you. We're in a position right now where Next Aqua are championing their own game, right? They're playing their own game, and it's because of that outpacing. It's because of that out-possession play. Owned Esport. No time for hesitation anymore. You've pressed pause with the timeout. You've allowed yourselves to get the breather. Now it's time to turn around. Now it's time to play your own game. Game number 3 is off to the mark.
The pause has been pressed, but have the actors on the pitch been changed, or is it going to be the same old ensemble that we're going to see after this time out? Next, in a prime position here in this series. Owned, taking their time out, I know, certainly do need to find a reaction to an oppressive Dutch playstyle.
And here we go. Already some possession and some demo plays leading for Owned Esports. Can't quite get that follow-up to come through, but the Funk allows for the attack to continue. Can't land the bump on the Gizu. There's a pass over to Heatsy, though, and they find the opening. Owned Esport already turning it around.
Already turned it around. Galaxy off the backboard. Lecram is weirdly positioned on his own. He's confused, and that confusion used to his greatest effect by Heatsy. An opening goal here. In favor of Owned Esports. Can they hold on? Quick little shot there by Next Aqua. Block Lecram trying again with the flip reset, but there's the speed and there's the snappiness and the challenge from Galaxy.
Feels like a new round in a boxing match, and after Owned Esport were pummeled, they finally land a good right hook on their opponent. You've got to capitalize on this, though. While Next Aqua are a bit jaded, continue to try to play your game, continue to try to outpace Next Aqua. It's going to be difficult, especially as close reads like that come from Lecram and air dribbles from Gizu up for the dunk, but they just don't land, so Owned Esports still with a chance to dominate.
With a chance, and then maybe he has a shot there. Funked just drags that one wide over the bumper of his car. Gizzo and the counter-attack. Can he get another touch? He can, and he will score the equalizer for Next.
Doesn't take too long for Next Aqua. The flick to Gizu is well handled. Note that first touch, it just stays near the Octane. It allows them to get the extra touch past the final defender. It's just it's just great ball control, honestly, from Gizu coming out for that first goal for their team.
Great ball control indeed, and now a lot of pitch control here, again exerted by Next Aqua. Vitesse Gizu looking for an interesting and intricate double tap with the angle. Yano pushing in very aggressively as third there. Not buying a lot of time for both of his teammates to rotate back, but in the end it did work out. Could have bit him in the behind though.
Yarno doing what he does best. 2 demolitions again. The bread and butter. And boy, are they eating.
Oh, they are eating good. They don't have some, regular people, some regular toast They are eating fine. They're eating brioche. And they have got some fancy French salted butter or something like that on it as well. That is wonderfully executed by Jarno.
Again, owned esport. They allow themselves to get double demolition by a single player that has championed the headhunting game. And that is quite the predator to keep your eyes out for. As owned esport looking like the prey. Only down one though, halfway of the game to go. And while their advantage came early on in the game, Mocked, I'd say certainly still a chance to turn it around. Defunct was on the other end trying to get a bump to go. The air dribble didn't work out for them. They do get the save though as Defunct trails back to the goal line.
Defunct goes back, but still there's pressure from next up for Vitesse, and that clearance is subpar from Galaxy. Luckily though, own esport are not punished for it. Straight to the opponent. But still, the ball does not leave the orange half. Jarno just trying to be a nuisance once more. Lecrum invited into the play. Where's Gizzo? There he is, bit beaten by Defunct.
ETC on this on 0 boost, but a great 50-50 that may set up for owned esport to capitalize. If you have that long clear though from Jarno to reset. Same registered for Defunct on that high touch up the backboard. He's gonna get another. Jarno definitely pushed to expend every element of boost, as it is a misfire there from owned esport, but still available here, especially off the demo. Heats though from the 50-50. The ball goes to the sidelines. Follow-up effort there, and you're kidding me. The front flip from Gizu. He just lands there for the save and turns it around.
Lands there, opportunistic front flip, but gets the result nonetheless. Jarno gets it again into the opposing half. Gizu, can he recover from the ceiling? Yes, he can. He's got Lecrum with him, but Lecrum can't find the angle to put that shot on its mark. With 1 minute remaining, owned esports still very much in this game number 3.
And they were just full-on robbed of that goal, though. How do you pick yourselves back up and strike once again? Galaxy from the midfield line comes close to it. Banger to the other side. It is taken care of. Galaxy now trailing off this, shadowing, looking for the right effort. He's going to climb all the way onto his backboard. Gizu in chase, in pursuit, but does not land a bump. There it is. Pass out to Defunct. Fakes one. Goes for the dribble and the dunk, but Gizu handles it effectively. Finds clearance.
Standing his ground is Gizu, and now together with Rikram trying to get it clear, but they only move it laterally across. Defunct trying to get Galaxy involved. It's into the corner, but it's not too threatening. Lecrum able to take control. One cutback met with a bump, as it so often is. Galaxy has an opportunity, but the ball is dropped to the ground. Next arc for Vitesse do have 4 match points.
Yeah, 4 match points. A lot to work with now in this series, but it was a close victory, this one. Not the case for the whole series, but this one, I feel like every strategy that was put in place by owned esport was still executed on, but still wasn't enough. They got that timeout to reset. They got the opening goal to try and take back control so that they weren't outpaced, weren't outmatched on every play, but they still fell perilous to continued activities of Next Aqua, like the double demolition, like the counterattacks that put Next ahead.
And it's just, in the end, it's just those 2 details that really worked in Nex's favor, where Gizzo just had the speed on the first, on the equalizer, and then, as you said, the double demo, the absolute, well, chaotic evil. Can we call Jarno chaotic evil at this point with how many demos he's already put on? Yeah.
I'm sure
it's
owned esport are looking at that player of Jarno and feeling like that is the evil side of Rocket League. You know, you can't have eyes in the back of your head all the time in Rocket League. You can only look in that backwards camera every now and then, and you're just haunted by the ever presence of Jarno coming for you on the demolition game. It's been a game changer of a strategy and a tactic for Next Aqua to give them the match point in game number 4, as we're hot off the heels of game number 3. As you said, Mocked, 4 match points available for Next in this series.
4 match points, and can Next book their second trip into a semi-finals? One nearly slipping through there. on the defense of own. Gizzo still lurking around. Galaxy gets one touch and get his second defunct, helping him out to get the ball out from under. But still, the defense from Own Esports at times just looks very, very panicky. Yano tries to mind game his way through, not succeeding.
I'm not gonna lie, Galaxy scared me there. Was in perfect position to own goal on that effort, but put it above the crossbar, breathe, we're fine, we're good. Owned Esport, still continuing to look for that early edge they got in the last game.
So trying to look for it, and now putting some pressure onto that blue net. It's going to be defended away though. Yano to the other side. Lekram misses Heatsy. He's going to suffocate, or at least try to suffocate the defense. It doesn't need to. Defunct is there to dunk his way home to the lead.
Credit to Defunct for staying in position off the potential misplay from Next Aqua, but these aren't unforced errors. Heat abandons the ball and goes for that bump. Really scares those defenders on the backboard from Next Aqua to even make a play on the ball. No way.
What?
The dunk of the century, Mock. What was this?
Is that? Okay, that challenge is either really dumb or exceedingly smart.
Oh, man.
My initial thought would be the prior, but if it's stupid and it works, it ain't stupid. So I'm going with the latter. It is incredibly smart. Just go for it.
No.
And it clearly has rattled Next Aquaritas.
Okay, I am now terrified to see what even happens in this game because all rule books and all strategies have been tossed away. What is going on here? Galaxy had that dunk play there. As I am now going to strip Yarno's title of Chaotic Evil and instead give it to Galaxy on that pre-jump read. That was truly devilish. But have we equalized just a bit here, Mocked, as the ball toes the midfield line?
We have stabilized at least. I don't know if we equalized just yet. But certainly Owned Esports are taking a crack at the seemingly impossible. 2 goals in their favors, looking quite well indeed. But Gizzo might have something to say about it. Gizzo, he just needs to fake his way through. And there's the halving of the lead.
Where's the reset button? I need this game 4 to start over. I know. What are these shots that are going in? Calculated fake, bouncer to the top corner. And we start off from the kickoff again. And Next Aqua begin their climb back to this game with a unique goal.
Unique, certainly. Doesn't matter how it came about, it certainly does not. If you're Next Aqua Vitesse, you are not going to give a care in the world of how you're scoring. The only matter is that you're scoring. Deficit halved. Can they even get one step further? Gizzo with 50-50. Lekram looking for his comrade. Not able to find him. Yano keeping the ball alive. Yano, can he drop onto that one again? Defunct stands his ground. Heatsy does not. Dunked by Lekram. We all square.
This is revenge right here from Lekram. He got his head dunked on earlier by Galaxy and says, you know what? Gonna do it too. Kind of stalls his momentum. Then 0 to 60 on the wave dash dunk. Well done for Next Aqua to tie it up.
It's good commitment. It's good perseverance shown by Next Aqua Vitesse. They don't want to drag the series on longer than what they need. It needs is what they feel like it needs to be. Get the equalizer. Do show some fight. And now let's see how Owned Esports can respond. Gizzo getting it past the first and second line of defense. Galaxy dropping back. Defunct getting dunked. There's Lekram. Flip reset up high. Galaxy keeping the backboard his own territory.
Oh, Gizzo finds Lekram. That is going to be Defunct to have to make the save here, but the ball's popped up here for Yarno. One touch onto the ceiling, a second downwards to the net. Galaxy does make a save, and Defunct has to carry out through this rotation as Heats is left alone on the goal line, but does make a stop. Lekram now from the ceiling loses control of the ball. Yarno trying to find a cheeky angle around, but having a difficult time of it. Still finds the bump. Yarno's always good for a bump and more. Gets the demolition. Galaxy has to slow down the play and regains control.
It was again such a smart demo from Jarno as he opened up a lot of space, hoping that on the right wall, Lekram would force his way through Galaxy, but he did superbly to avoid that from happening. And now Defunct maybe paying him back. Defense holds for now, does hold again, Jarno. Across and out of danger.
Out of danger, but Owned Esport, they are in the danger zone. 1 goal conceded here means their tournament lives are expended. And here comes Jarno to make that goal happen. 50-50, then working the goal line, steals that boost. Galaxy back on the ball, and it's contested by Gizu. Jarno immediately turns on this with the boost that he stole from earlier. Hits it up the ceiling. Gizu with a play off the backboard. That's met by Galaxy. Down to single digits here on the counterattack for Owned Esport. Defunct behind the ball, puts it in the midfield, and Gizu cuts it off. Last effort from Heats is denied by Jarno. And with that demolition, we will slow things down and ramp up the speed again for overtime.
Overtime, number 1. It might be a short one, Jarno. Already there, Defunct beat him to it quickest to the loose ball as he's trying to dunk his way through Lekram once more. Gizzo. Long clear, and now there's Defunct in a prime spot. The shot, though, too high.
Oh, Defunct, you're that striker. Make it happen in those opportunities. That goes too high, and you know in his head, he's like, I want that shot back. But if they concede a goal here, they're not going to get that chance again. Not till the next split. Lekram off the ceiling now. It's from the backboard. Defunct handles this. Across the sideline, but cannot get it around Gizu. Isn't even good for a 50-50. Out of boost is Gizu as he leaves it for Jarno, but he's still on the other side, trying to make his way back. Defunct up the backboard, shot there from Galaxy! It's downwards and in! Owned Esports are on the survival route.
Owned Esports fighting for survival and getting the pre-flip over Lekram and then hunting Jarno in his own net. Take that off your own medicine. Say Owned Esports. They stay alive. They've won 1. 3 to go.
You know what, Mark? I criticized Defunct on one of the later shot attempts there as the pass to the midfield. His shot went high. And it's like, oh, you want that on target. I see him take a shot again and it's high. And it's like, hold on. This is a perfect passing opportunity. As long as those follow-ups are in succession for Owned Esport, they can capitalize on those plays. You see how kind of when their back's against the wall, when they have to put everything forward to survive in this series, how they really do climb to the mechanical effectiveness they need in this series.
They certainly can climb and certainly do climb, but the question is, could it be perhaps a little bit too late here, having to win 3 on the trot, not allowing any sort of leeway for your mistakes anymore? That is my worry at the moment here for Owned Esport, because next Aquavites, they just have to keep doing what they're doing because their playstyle is sort of inducing those errors into their opponents.
Oh yeah, it most certainly is. Again, we speak so much of Jarno. He's still getting those bump demo combinations. But, you know, we're seeing the rebound effort out of Owned Esport. We're learning that it takes more to cut this team out of their rhythm. They're still able to resurface and regain as they have in this series. We push it now to game number 5 and our final quarterfinals of the day. And you know what, Mocked? We saw the 1-3 deficit in this series at a team come back. Who's to say they can't pull off the full reverse sweep as well?
Who is to say that? Statistics, probably. As overwhelmingly reverse sweeps are statistically very unlikely. But still, Owned Esports going to give it a shot. And 1 shot already fired on target. Galaxy gets a reset, a bit delayed. Jarno's first touch is not what we would have wanted.
Well, this ball does go high. Gizu's going to leave it for Jarno. He's got a reset, and boy, does he use it. Eventually, cuts it back into the corner as Gizu has a lot more boost to utilize. They're not afraid to capture this ball in the corner. Speaking of in the corner, oh yeah, we've got a roll 1. Credit due to Heatsy and Lekram. This becomes the 2v2. The space becomes open and wide for the taking for Defunct.
Oh, whoa, whoa, 2v2, and that's been won by Owned. The Rule 2 still is going to cause some issues for next Aqua Vitesse. 1 minute played, with 1 goal, the lead of Owned Esports.
I'm not going to take it up now. We can have a talk about the rule numbers later on after the game. How's
I'm
that
just
sound?
so old. I'm so old. I'm OG.
Yeah, always flexing your established 2015 title. I get it, Mog. You know,
No, the
2016,
Bronze Season 1
whatever.
crown. That's more. That's
Yeah,
even
all I
better.
hear is yapping. I want to see some shooting. All right, let's see it. Owned Esports. They've got their first goal, trying to make this big comeback. And they're certainly going to do it if they take the bumps back to Yarno as they knock him off the play.
Knock him off the play for now, but Lecram is going to have a second bite of the cherry. Gets a flip reset, but doesn't quite get it on target. Defunct can't get it to Galaxy Heat. He's a bit out of position as well. Gizzo just fakes once more. Lecram to bully his way through. 1-1 equalized.
Okay, there we go. Gizu, how about the setup for himself? Eventually abandons the ball, but the work has been done to effectively stay around the ball and create so many options for next Aqua. Owned Esport, they have to be prepared to react to literally anything, and it's tough to do that against a heat-seeking missile from Lecram.
Seeking Mixel, and the fact of the matter, Lecram just being a little bit too thick to be removed from the play. Gizzo with a quick little shot out of midfield. Slightly too high. Defunct with a great demolition on Lecram. No follow-up, therefore, for next Aqua Vitesse. Gizzo certainly tries, but unfortunately for him, just gets that back pass. Next Aqua Vitesse have to move back and have to build it all once more from their own back line.
It's there from Lecram, but with that low amount of boost, there's not much to work with. And eventually it does diffuse the effort from next. Pass out to Defunct, is taken to the goal line. Trying to get that follow-up. There was, I believe, Galaxy. Heat's in the corner, but just can't win that challenge. Now it's Defunct. Hits it the wrong way. Lecram reads this up the backboard, but ends up hitting it the wrong direction. Rotating ball side. There's Lecram as the two of next Aqua combined with Yarno try to make the play still work. There's the bump. There's the last straw again and again against Owned Esport to credit a victory for next.
If in doubt, get Yarno out of position and into the opponent's face, opening up the way for Lecram. He's got full trust that Yarno's going to make connection with his opponent, and that trust should be rewarded with a second goal, and thus the lead for next Aqua Vitesse. But less than 2 minutes left to play here. Owned Esports has got everything to do.
Do Owned Esport just go for the Rule 1 again? I mean, at this point, that is the one goal you've earned. Forcing a 2v2 in this game, you wonder if that's the strat. Right now, Heats is dodging yet another demo attempt from Yarno. It's left the net open just a bit, but the shot ends up going wide. Next Aqua with another setup from Yarno, causing chaos.
Causing chaos is Yarno, chaos incarnate. But will that chaos be enough? Will the second goal be the opening one to get the lead and to get this series under wraps? Yarno will take it to the side, trying to get Gizzo involved, but he's beaten. The Galaxy on that left flank. The ball's going to drop down. Defunct is there, but so is Lecram.
Of that opportunity, though. Galaxy just pinches off the backboard. That is a bullet right to Defunct. And it's going to take up that follow chance for Owned Esport to get this equalizer goal. Final minute here. Again, tournament lives on the line. They need a link up like that and still more against the defense of next.
It's going to be increasingly difficult if the player behind the ball is going to be demoed, as Lecram just showed us here with that little demonstration. And time now ticking away as well for Owned Esports. Galaxy, he tries, gets it up high, he misses, and that's opening up Gizzo with a clear.
Oh, here it is, wrapping around the corner. This can be the last attempt here for Owned Esport, but they've got to guard their own backline first. They can't do it. Yarno, the resident of the opponent's goal line, will also find a goal from that domain.
He shall not be removed from his domain, as he's going to maybe stamp a semi-finals ticket onto next Aquavitas as a Spanish kickoff being tried. It's not succeeding. Time ticking away. And with that, Own Esports, they may have improved time and time again, but improvement was not enough for a next Aquavitas that come back to the semi-finals.
Undeniably, the fight was there from Own Esport. This team did not give up. They didn't give in, but they gave in to the pressure. They caved in to the amount of physicality coming out from Next Aqua, and surely a game plan that we will continue to see shine for this team. So your number 1 seed out of Swiss is continuing their work in a Game 5 victory.
Well, we got something in between, guys. We had the 4-0 sweep, we had the Game 7, and now we have a 4-1. But Owned not managing to pull off what would have been a famous victory for them. Well played to Next. And I wonder, Pyro, to me, overall, it felt like a bit of an experience thing that Owned. It felt like they just lacked the experience at this late stage. Galaxy, although he's been around a long time, has never been at this sort of higher level of competition for very long. Heatsy's new to it. Defunct, of course, has the experience, but they just kind of lacked something there in this series.
I feel like Galaxy, you mentioned for not long. I think he does have that experience, but only for a blip of time. Defunct, he's kind of pushed up to that mark, but still trying to work into getting a top 4 spot of this region. But your remark is so true, Graybeard, in that something did attest to this team not performing at their high potential at the start of this series. Mocked and I talked about it extensively. It was the outpacing done by Next against Owned Esport, that they just were not on the ball first. They just got beaten to the ball time and time again. Possession was waning against them throughout the series. It took till too late in the series for them to work up that same level of pacing.
Yeah, I saw a lot of opportunities when they were in front of the Next net, where they were looking to sort of control and dribble into a crowd of defenders. You know, there's like 2 or 3 people you got to make their way through. And I would agreed with that there was a pacing issue. But I do know that they will learn from this, and they are. Macht, I believe we're about to enter roster mania chaos, as we always do in SSA after major Rocket League events, RLCS events. But Owned, I strongly believe this is going to be one of the very, very few rosters that stick together, and I think they come back better, a lot better at next split.
I mean, they now have, 2 months to work on it? They've got 2 months to work on replay analysis. They can improve themselves individually and as a unit, because there's a lot of good things to see. The problem just was that the French org and its players didn't have quite the cohesion sometimes necessary, and also tend to panic a bit on defense. So whilst I would say merci à tous Owned Esport, I would say better luck next time as well in split number 2.
All right. Well, so we've spoken about Owned, but we've also complained a little or mentioned, Pyro, the inconsistency of Next, but that was certainly not apparent in this series. And here they are. They get to be in a semi-final, and they certainly were the better of the 2 teams out on the field today.
Yeah, I mean, I think what's clear is this team has a game plan, right? I think Gizu is such a playmaker when he's behind the ball, always has a plan to get that first touch in the air that keeps the ball close and sets him up for that beat against the last defender. Yarno, it's abundantly clear that this is the player that wants to work in the opposite half of the field to create controversy and calamity and take the opposition out of the rhythm. I think Lacrom can really play any position, but I will say, as we kind of branded this team as inconsistent, they are beating the allegations with a solid game plan forward, and one that can contest against Astronic.
All right, well, Next are in the semi-finals, and there you see it. Next will be playing Astronic tomorrow. Limitless will be playing Bonjour. And so the first match tomorrow is going to be Limitless Bonjour, and then Next next, and Astronic. So, yeah, there we go. And I think we started last weekend. I believe this time round was 94 teams. And over the course of 2 long weekends, we've whittled our way down slowly, but ever so surely, down to just the 4 teams that remain here to determine the Open Qualifier number 3 champion. And all of that action going to be brought to you tomorrow, of course. But we now have the all-important driver of the day. Based on your votes at acgl.gg, who was today's driver of the day, the player of the day? And that is as much as a surprise to us as to you, as we see it coming up now. And there it is, Berichu. Okay. Well, that's a name I've heard being called a lot. Pyro, your thoughts?
If you asked me who to pick, this was the name in my head. I wish you asked me. Berichu, again, in the match against 77 Blocks, was the only player that was ready to go, hot off the start. Mario and on yellow definitely cooked later on in the match for this team to make the 1-3 series comeback to pull it to game 7 and win. But Berichu undoubtedly setting up the plays and eventually allowing to be that finishing factor when their teammates were able to facilitate. I think again and again, when you look at Astronic playing these matches on Championship Sunday or wherever in the playoffs, look to this player to kick things off.
I mean,
And Macht,
I got to interject. I got to interject. I got to interject. Berichu instrumental for Astronic, no questions asked. Like, absolutely vital. But Cam's was so good today in Bonjour series against Mongolia. Cam's had literally got 50% shot accuracy, 80% goal participation, and he got an over 500 score per game. He scored like 2 goals per game as well.
Yes,
Cam's
but did he have to come back in a 1-3 series to pull it to game 7 and win?
Dominated Mongolia.
Do you know what he had going against him, Macht? And I'm inclined to agree with you. But Berichu had 7 games to establish his credentials. Cam just had the 4 because they swept. But maybe that should be a further argument in his favor.
I mean, yeah. I'm not going to take it away from Berichu. He played fantastic and he was instrumental. My vote, but that's a great thing of personal opinions, right? Everyone just has a little bit of a different preference, and Berichu would have been my number 2 pick for sure, though.
Fair enough, but a solid and deserved hat tip to Cam. But Berichu, congratulations to you for being the driver of the day. And that wraps up the Saturday portion of this Open Qualifier. The final day, Championship Sunday, is going to be tomorrow. 2 semi-finals, 1 grand final, all of them best of 7, and we will bring every moment of that to you right here. And once again, I've got to give a big shout out to the ACGL crowd and Blank and Reggie, who do all the work in the production. Of course, the talent, who I have to say again are here regional after regional for passion and passion alone. And a shout out to Olympic making his debut here in the booth. He was terribly nervous, but I think he did a fantastic job. And then a very special shout out to our admins who had very little sleep and did a lot of very, very good work. And all of their work, as it often happens, is behind the scenes and not out in the public eye. So I just want to give them a hat tip. And Machtfish Pyro, thank you for being here. And of course, your boy Q. We'll all be back tomorrow. But that wraps it up. All that's left of this entire split is the production tomorrow, Championship Sunday. Then we take a break. It's the chaos of LAN, and we're going to enjoy all the roster mania between the 2 splits. But for now, that's it from us. Peace.